Oh, howdy y'all. I'm Kodiak Bricks. I make stuff. Pronouns are he, him, and we've got some hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades on deck tonight. I'm joined by the delightful Austin.
Howdy there, it's your local war criminal and hoodlum.
Indubitably. The illustrious Spencer, aka Sad Crispy Boy. I am tired. I apologize.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I got there in the end. I got there in the end, alright?
God damn.
How does the
This
first
is how Kodiak treats his friends. Don't form parasocial relationships with him. This is what he'll do to you. He'll forget your name.
Parasocial. Don't even form social relationships with me. This is just
I know. This is what I get.
Right? And then the incredible and indubitable, that's not a word, Avron Plays, or Aaron.
Hello. It me.
It you. I think we might have some others joining later, but for right now, I think we can get things started. So I have presented some of my firearms. What is funny is if I load the scene with the red dot on here, it crashes the game. I don't know why, but that's gonna live right there. So I own an FNP 45, but this is an FNX 45. It's more or less the same size. We'll be using this as a general like size comparison. Think like a banana for scale and whatnot. Got some horseshoes over there, and I think we can get started with the Union French.
Not the Union Jack.
So it's the Union French. Kind of, you know, a little weird looking. Got a bit of a longer barrel. Nothing too crazy about this thing.
Dave.
Yes.
Dave.
It's not about the barrel size. It's about how you shoot it.
I hate to interrupt you, but I don't think Sydney is in Chooms.
Oh. Well, do we need to?
So you might want to invite her.
Okay. Can I?
Or something.
You should be able to invite anyone into the channel if memory serves me right.
Yeah. Also, I'm not gonna lie, that fucking you said the French Union. That thing looks like a Makarov had like a bastard child.
There's the add people button. Invite.
That looks like somebody got Revolver Ocelot from Wish.
Made it.
Hey, there we go. Sorry, I didn't realize you weren't part of this server. My bad.
No worries. No worries. It happens.
Okay. So, remember, kids, treat every gun as if it's loaded, unless it isn't. So, howdy, Sydney.
Even
welcome.
the love gun.
Welcome.
So, I brought up that this was going to be a cursed gun stream, and I felt like we couldn't really do that if we didn't talk about one of the weirdest pistols to start out. But as I've hinted, this thing looks pretty normal, right? It's kind of a wonky looking pistol.
It just looks like a chunky Makarov, dude.
Well, I may have lied when I said that these were horseshoes.
Excuse the fuck out of you, what is that?
If my controller will let me.
What in the banana clip having ass are you loading into the gun?
Is the Union French with the magazine inserted.
That's the normal magazine.
Well, okay, so Asterix, there are a lot of different versions of the Union pistol. This is the French-made one. And do you want to know the funniest thing about it?
Yeah. Oh, it's fully automatic.
Correct. On a 35-round magazine.
35 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I just showed the stream to my fiance because I'm on my phone, and she is quoted as saying, "It looks like a Hot Wheel track."
It doesn't it though? It kind of does. But yeah,
it looks like when your car hits the barrel, it goes faster because of the bumps.
But yeah, some notable things. Fuck all as far as iron sights.
Are the bullets recyclable?
You're intended to like grasp this and just hold it like a little machine pistol while you spray stuff.
Yeah,
So-
kind of like a Rapika.
Yeah, a little bit. Where this belongs.
Yes, absolutely.
All right,
Out of my
Matt.
sight.
That was our first gun. It is almost all downhill from here.
Oh no!
Yay.
According to your notes, it also passes the anime test.
It does.
You wanna
Okay, so
explain that?
let's talk
Wait,
about
what is
that.
the
Let's talk about that
what is
before we
the
get into
anime
it.
test?
Okay, so pretty frequently I show weird guns to my friends, every third person I meet on the street, general conversation piece. And I will pull
Yeah.
up Google Images to show people like what this thing looks like. Very frequently, incredibly frequently, concerningly frequently, I might add. What ends up happening is there is anime, a furry, or some other like form of art depicting the weapon. Usually it's anime or furry though.
Yeah, that checks out.
The other thing is a lot of these being older and more obscure, there's a YouTube channel called Forgotten Weapons. And so for
Yeah.
all of these, I checked to see if there was a Forgotten Weapons. I don't think I got an exact count, but it felt like a majority of them. Like there were a lot.
Fair enough.
So,
Did you fix your YouTube stream yet, Dave?
let's see. Hypothetically, this is weird. I might have to leave YouTube.
Oh, I had to
down.
refresh the page, and it works now.
We're back up.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. I'm gonna close YouTube then and pray that it continues to work. But okay. Nope. Damn it. All right, you
I wonder
folks
how
can
much
see the
money
game.
was. Yeah, we can see.
Okay. All right. I
wonder how
knew
much money was wasted on that fucking handgun you showed us earlier.
how much money.
Yeah.
Oh, these things were like pennies to produce.
I bet you they're
Well,
not
yeah.
pennies to buy.
Ho, 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 ho.
Okay. Loading
Mr.
scenario.
Yeah, it's over here. Watch out.
Okay, we are not going to put that red dot back on the FN. I think that was where we went wrong.
I think you might be right. Possibly.
Okay. Where do we leave off? I think I had just finished showing the Union French and talking about Forgotten Weapons.
Yes.
Okay, so I
Yep,
think
that's
we were
exactly
ready.
it.
We were ready to move on to the EM2 Prototype.
It's the next one on the list.
Wow.
What?
That's fancy looking.
So this is the EM2 Prototype. Austin, for your horror, this is the prototype that eventually became the L85.
You shut your whore mouth right now.
I wish I could, but this was it, man. This was what Enfield was up to. Charging handles up here,
Somebody
because of
did
course.
an entire pile of cocaine and was like, we need something that would fit in like Starship Troopers the anime.
This does look like it belongs in Starship Troopers the anime, you're right. What I love is we've got the classic British thing of slightly offset
Rated.
iron sights. And then I'm going to show chat the reticle on this scope if I can. And then for the people in the stream, that is the reticle.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I genuinely
Fucking wrong.
I genuinely don't know. But
This is what happens when you continue to eat food like the Germans are still a threat.
Yeah. So this is chambered in the 280 British, which is like a proprietary cartridge that was made specifically for this gun.
Yeah, that sounds like some British bullshit.
Yeah. You know, built-in carrying handle. Again, Brits love them. Part of me wants to know what all goes into, like, making this kind of, like, tumorous wooden, like, grip up here.
Oh, you know damn well what goes into the thought process right there.
I do. Before I put this where it belongs, Aaron, does this one pass the anime test? I can't remember.
It does not.
It does not.
However, it does pass the Forgotten Weapons test.
Hell yeah. All right. So, that was just number two. How we feeling? Because it's mostly downhill
honestly.
from here. All right. So now I get to talk about the boys' anti-tank rifle. Which,
yes.
like, yeah, as far as anti-tank rifles go, pretty classic. I'll just grab
It's
the
a top
magazine
loader,
and...
isn't it?
Oh. No, it won't fit there. Huh.
Yeah, it's a top loader.
Yeah. Yeah, it loads from the top. But it's chambered in this 55 boys, which I think is slightly larger.
How did they get 55 boys in there?
I know, right? They must have packed them in like so goddamn tight. Again, another classic British offset
Rookie number.
iron sights.
I could
fucking
easily
love
pack
doing
100
this.
boys in that shit.
I also love that you get like a grip back here, so you can just like tally ho, lads.
This is the same energy as like the British trying to describe somebody like being part of the LGBT, where they say it's an adjective. But like
Fair
that man leaves his windows open at night, if you know what I mean, and it's like, no, I really don't.
But yeah, I realize I should have done the thing where I pulled up the like 50 caliber like actual round. But again, as far as like
God.
yeah, this thing is massive.
Question for the professor.
Yes.
Was this at all effective on like the German infantry vehicles and shit?
So from my understanding, yes, but do you know what it was even more effective on?
People?
Elephants?
I'm sorry,
Oh.
who?
Elephants.
Who?
The British
When?
used this for elephant hunting.
Of course they fucking did.
Because
God
of course.
fucking damn it.
Before
Like,
I
well,
send
yeah,
this to the Shadow Realm, Aaron, does it pass the anime test? I can't remember.
It does.
Okay, good.
It does. I can actually name the anime that it's in, and it's Helsing.
Was this in Helsing?
Yeah.
Huh. Anyway. Okay.
I know she had a big anti-tank rifle, but I don't recall if it
So
was
she-
that specific one.
So the first one she had was that one, and then the second one she had was the one that was modified that they had in like New Vegas. The French one?
The Hecate?
Yeah, the Hecate.
Or Hecate, or whatever they want to call it. Anyway, here's the KH-2002. Anyone who played... anyone who played Battlefield 3 will be intimately familiar. Because of course it
that's
has
beautiful.
a bayonet. Because why fucking...
We
awesome.
we got 2 comments from Fusen. First comment: we need a Desert Eagle with the budget ACOG, but does it pass the Bechtel test?
Not a single firearm on this list passes the Bechdel test. So what I love about this one, outside of just how it looks, is like it's a very sort of basic trigger mechanism on this thing, but the selector switch is back here.
That's amazing.
Oh,
That is such great design.
You just
That is fantastic design. I like how the front grip is ribbed for your pleasure too.
absolutely. Yeah, I love the bayonet on this thing. Weirdly enough, Iran made this as like an export gun, which is part of why it takes like the American Stanag mags.
I'm surprised. This is Iranian?
Yeah.
Oh.
But,
Because I would have guessed this was another British fuck up.
Nope. No, this one's from Iran. But yeah, they I think they discontinued it in like 2005, I want to say, because they couldn't find any customers for it.
Well, yeah, that checks out. I mean, look at it.
It's in 2012 in your notes.
Oh, 2012. Thank you.
It's so thin.
Lasted that
Oh,
long.
It's just a little guy. It's so thin.
I feel like if I smacked it over my knee, it would break.
Yeah, I can see it. I don't think this one passed the anime test, if I remember correctly.
It does pass the anime test.
It does.
What you
Okay.
might be thinking is it does not get a feature on weapons.
On Forgotten Weapons, yeah. I don't think Ian... I couldn't find anything where Ian had covered this, so... Alas.
No, I distinctly remember seeing that in like Mob Psycho because they had that and like a couple FAMASas.
Huh, how about that? So next we get to talk about the NTW-20.
Oh, the anti-helicopter rifle.
Yes. This was also the rifle that inspired the Halo sniper rifle. Which is why it might look so familiar to some. But
This thing's fucking mean, and its design is butt ugly.
So
I
it's
think
available.
it's awesome looking.
It's available in two different calibers. The first is 14.5 by 114 millimeter, which will be coming up later in the presentation. The second is a literal goddamn 20 millimeter grenade. So
Because fuck your helicopter and everybody on that helicopter.
yeah. Oh yeah. Safety.
Get fucked.
Think we got him.
But if memory serves right, the way the recoil system in this thing works is the barrel moves back, but the frame doesn't, right?
I believe so, because yeah, you can see how it's sort of like hollow through this whole chassis, so this whole thing sort of rocks back while the chassis stays in place.
I think the thought process was like it would make it easier and more bearable on the shooter, but in reality, it really fucking doesn't.
Well, again, you're firing a 20 millimeter grenade, like just to sort of demonstrate it here. This is an AK magazine. Like this kills you. This kills you and everyone else in the room. Oh. No, come on. Anyway, I am pretty sure this passed the anime test, if I recall.
It sure did.
Yeah. I think there was an anime that kept coming up specifically. It was like Girls Frontline or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just hentai.
Cool.
I mean, he's not wrong, because it's basically like, what if we turned guns into waifus?
Oh.
Yeah, it's like Girls und Panzer?
Yeah, like Girls und Panzer, but like not lolly.
That's cool. So, speaking of hentai,
What
about-
in the sweet?
Whoa!
let's talk about the high standard 10A for a bit. So this is...
I feel like this is some James Bond scuba diving bullshit.
I could see that. What do you think this fires? As I casually grab this box and empty it.
She's really
Not what I
concerned, man.
would've
I
guessed.
don't know. Not what I would have guessed either. But you're telling me this is a shotgun?
It is a bullpup police like door breaching shotgun. It has a whole like flashlight built into the front of it. It's like a C1600 is the like base shotgun. This is just a kit that goes over it.
This was made for police to breach doors, is what you're saying?
C1200, thank you. Yeah, also, caution, do not try to shoot from left shoulder. I wonder fucking why.
Weird. Say goodbye to half of your teeth.
Yeah. So,
This looks
and again,
fucking ugly.
the iron sight is just a suggestion, which is always hilarious to me. But, as far as...
Wow. That is just fucking gross.
Right?
That made...
See, people keep calling the XM8 the fish gun, but I just keep thinking of this. Like, it literally has a fucking tail on it.
This hot take coming from somebody with my background, but whoever designed this must be crucified.
That's fair. But yeah, all, so it may shock the party to learn that this did not work. Like, it worked
Real
kind
quick.
of, but,
No, you
we
don't
got
say.
we got another Fusen comment
oh yeah?
that I think needs to be read to the class. What is lolly, and does it pass the Bechtel test?
It does fucking not.
No, it
No.
doesn't.
To answer your question, Fusen, what it is a crime, and
Austin, he knows. I can
No,
speak
no, no,
confidently
no,
that
no,
Fusen
no.
knows.
No, he needs to hear the next part.
Okay.
Because, and I hate quoting them, but I quote the Legion from New Vegas, profligates like you belong on a cross.
Very true. Ah.
Oh god,
Now-
what the hell?
On to German space magic. So this is the HK
Yeah.
G11
Real quick.
Prototype.
We've got a comment from G24KW. Yay, H3VR. No way, let's go.
Let's go.
What?
So does anyone want to
What?
try to figure out what that little orange cap is?
Is that fucking caseless ammunition?
You bet your sweet bippy if it'll let me fucking unload it, but which it won't. Anyway, yes,
No,
that is
because you cannot
caseless.
handle the Eldritch technology. Why in the why? Why did it load like that? Why did it load like that? Why?
Okay, so obviously there's no ejector since it's caseless ammunition. So how do I chamber around, class?
Please,
You
please,
twist
please,
it?
for the
Is it a bump it?
no. Shut the fuck up! No, 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 no,
Sydney got
no.
I've already
Why?
been introduced to some of these because I feel like 90% of me and Dave's talks nowadays are just about cursed guns, whether I find one or he's like, oh, you think that's bad? Oh, you think that's bad?
Well, again, that
No,
was sort of the
no,
impetus. The
no,
impetus
little
for this
German,
stream.
not my guns.
Yeah, even more horrifyingly, the whole magazine moves.
What in the sweet baby Jesus? What the hell? This looks like a really angry nail gun that's a wind-up toy.
Yeah, pretty much. Here's the thing, right? When I was doing research for this whole presentation, even I learned things, which is good. We don't like to graduate from the school of Dunning-Kruger. So this was obviously like West German Cold War era like weaponry, right?
Yeah.
When do you think they stopped development on this? Because I'll give you the hint that they stopped development.
Immediately.
4KW says, I'm in pain from seeing this.
It's a lot.
They
So
stopped
they
development
discontinued.
right after they did one.
So I believe it started in like 1970.
I'm gonna get a drink real quick. I'm right back.
I don't know if I put that in my notes or not. I don't think I did.
When it ceased development?
when it started development was like the 1960s or 70s, but I don't think I put that in there. Yeah, this ceased development in 1990.
Oh
Wait,
my god.
no.
Like,
That
end
makes
of the
sense.
Cold War.
That checks out. No, wait, that checks out. That checks out because I know a little bit of knowledge too.
Yeah.
The caseless ammunition was developed for the Future Weapons Project that started in 1970 something, where the U.S. military wanted to get rid of the M16,
Yep.
right? And basically, all the gun companies were like, "Cool, what's the budget?" And the asshole in charge was like, "There is none. Blank check."
Yeah, blank check, make it happen.
And
Yeah,
and here's the even better part, everybody in the party. We still do not know how much money was wasted on this project
I guess
to
it
this
was.
day. It
I'm
is
back.
still classified.
Welcome back.
G24
Because at the end of the-
PW says, but this gun is the best in Cruelty Squad.
I
I
don't
believe it.
know.
That's a Cruelty Squad gun.
Let's move past
This
the gun or what?
this is a Cruelty Squad gun. So the last thing I want to talk about with the caseless ammunition, because like it's a pretty neat idea, right? You don't have to, like, you could shoot this ambidextrous. You don't have to worry about like brass or hot gases or whatnot in your face. So why didn't they pursue this as a technology?
What if you like
Because it's way too fucking complicated.
Congratulations, I've just destroyed that entire magazine.
No.
Wait, what? That?
Any amount of
Does it-
dropping, throwing, rattling around, getting hit would cause the rounds to crack, and so when they got into here, it would jam up the whole works. And this thing doesn't let me take it apart to show you the like internal workings, but keep in mind that I have to do that to put a round in the chamber, because it shoots from the bottom here. So, yeah, it's...
I'm gonna take a stab and guess that the insides of this look like an old German Victorian clock that has like a bajillion different pieces.
Not at all incorrect. Of course this thing passes the anime test, and of course this thing was on Forgotten Weapons.
That was gross. I'm... Ugh.
Alright, we're gonna get a little more normal for this next one. If I click on the right one. So this is the AN-94. Again, anyone who played Battlefield 3 or any sort of like modern first-person shooter is gonna be relatively familiar with this one. Yes,
Yeah, it's
yes,
another
it has
AK.
a ball sack on the front.
I believe the term you're looking for is tactical sack. Thank you.
Yes. So, like many
The tacky stack,
AKs,
if you will.
you know, and we have mine over here, right? And
Yeah.
I'll just put that there, and you'll notice nice and even, right? It's just
Yeah.
everything you're sort of expecting. Why would you highlight
Oh.
that, Dave? Why would you
Oh.
highlight that the magazine is
Why?
canted?
Why?
So
Why?
my understanding is because this was intended to be for paratroopers, when you're flaring your chute, it would cause the weapon to rotate up easier like this. So you're not like jamming
Side
it
note
up into
for
your
me.
carrier.
If you watched me and Dave play Metal Gear Solid, you would have seen us talk about this gun.
Indeed. This is also like a weird kind of pressure chamber here at the end that supposedly increases the muzzle velocity of the specific rounds. This also has a reciprocating barrel, which is to say, when fired...
Oh, the barrel, it moves back.
Correct.
Not reciprocation and the fact that it'll love you back. It's different kind of reciprocation.
Damn.
Oh, thud.
How do you know that rom-com stands for romantic communists?
Very true.
Fun facts for the audience.
So,
More than just thumbing.
yeah, comes with a folding stock because, of course.
But it doesn't... It's not flush.
Correct. It does tend to like notch in there. I just was being lazy about closing it all the way. So it does sit kind of flush, but still a bit odd for sure. This was also intended to just replace the AK like 74, and also I love this like weird like rear ring sight deal they have going on, like all manner of different types of sights to use.
That's kind of weird.
That's kind of neat.
Hey Dave,
So
how much to shoot it like a gangster?
for free, my gamer.
Hell yeah.
So what's funny is like this is not unique to this weapon. It's the only one I know of that has a rotary dial one like this. The MP5 series is known for having a like rotating dial sight system.
Yeah.
Now to you, Aaron, did this one pass the anime test? I'm pretty sure it did.
It does.
It does. And then oh, sorry. One last fun fact, after I find out whether or not it ended up on Forgotten Weapons or not.
Wait, are you getting chat on screen, Dave, at all?
No, I'm not.
Or must
That's
have
why I
moved
was
it up.
asking
Okay.
you to read out the messages because I can't
Okay.
see them.
Double check. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything yet.
You're good. I appreciate you.
G24 just put in. Have any of y'all played Doom: The Dark Ages? I've beaten it. It's amazing.
I
Yes.
haven't
We had a
Florida.
pre-stream ramble Austin did about Doom.
Doom: The Dark Ages is fantastic. I had to take breaks. I did not beat it in a day like I normally do. I didn't want to pop another blood vessel.
That's
The
fair.
soundtrack is but everything else about it is great.
Hell yeah. Aaron, did this one, was it featured on Forgotten Weapons? I can't remember.
It was.
It was. Cool. There was another fun fact that Aaron and I found while I was researching this one. A couple of these were sent to the IRA.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
IRA only operated in car bombs.
I mean, they had a whole, like, fucking conflict, my guy. But yeah,
Oh
apparently...
no, trust me, I know. I went to the ground zeros for the troubles. I'm making jokes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I literally went to Derry at the ground zero of like the troubles. I went to museums. I've seen it. I know. I promise. I'm just
But I
being a shitty.
there's a part of me that's just curious that this, like, may have seen combat against British troops. And that's very
That
funny
makes
to
me
me.
feel happy. Makes me
Okay.
a wee bit happy.
While we're in the land of bears and vodka, I need you to understand that this revolver I'm about to spawn is a bit of an anomaly.
Okay.
It's like, I could not find a whole lot of information about it.
oh my
What?
god. It's
Fuck.
huge. Oh my
Good
god,
lord.
it's huge.
Was this designed for a fucking T-Rex?
So this is chambered in the like 12.7 by 55 millimeter. This is a rifle round. They're not even being subtle about the fact that this is a rifle round.
What the okay, wait. What was it called when you sawed off a Mosin into a pistol?
In Obrez,
Did somebody legitimize an Obrez? Because that's what it feels like.
I mean, this isn't far off. This is again, I need to stress this for the audience, a 50 caliber, like, rifle round revolver. Fires from the
Is this
bottom
like
cylinder.
when people were putting 50 cal rounds in flare guns?
A little bit, but yeah, it's just like I couldn't find a whole lot of information on this thing. It's just kind of an anomaly. Like, apparently they've made a couple for export, and there's some that are chambered in the 9x39 millimeter round, which is also just a gargantuan fucking bullet. Let's see, just to... Yes, all the good calibers. So this is 9 by 39. So like, not that much smaller, all things considered.
Good lord.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to shoot the T-Rex in your neighbor's backyard through 6 fridges and an elk.
If I'm going up against a Utah Raptor, I think I would want this. Like, genuinely, I think this would be useful in that context only.
I feel like that's fair, but then again, homie in Jurassic Park had a fucking SPAS12 and still got fucked up.
True, but hot take. SPAS12 is kind of ass.
Alright, we're gonna have a fight.
Oh damn.
That's fine. I'm pretty sure this one passed the anime test, but I could be wrong.
Does not pass the anime test.
Gotcha.
It passes because it looks like some shit from Cyberpunk 2077, I'm not gonna lie.
Like, listen,
Yeah,
you
it literally
slap some
almost looks like
neon
Bonnie
and
stuff.
like a piston right here, and 100% this is a Cyberpunk like boss revolver.
G24 KW asks, how cursed is this? A Glock 19 auto sear, arm brace, confetti rounds, 1980s laser sight.
I mean, that's just
Oh, that's cursed as fuck.
that, like, compared to some of the shit we have on this list, that's nothing. Okay.
I was gonna say,
So
Thomas
next-
the Glock.
Dave already knows the one that I hate the most.
This is true. So next we get to talk about the Bergmann series of pistols. So
Yes,
the Bergmann. So these predate the like C96 and the 1911. This is just kind of what auto pistols were like in like ye olde revolver days, including
like
the
the more-
stocks that come
I
with
feel like the more you put on this, it's like, yeah, have at thee, you dastardly scoundrel. I'll stop you and conglomerates to take over all the railways.
It's the pistol that the Type 17 is based on.
This one is not. So
I
what
know, I
you're
was
thinking of,
joking.
okay. It's like, you're
No, I was just
thinking
trying
of
to be
the
a shitter because they
C96.
look similar.
This
So,
yes.
G24 says, how dare you diss my SPAS12? As a Half-Life fan, I'm offended.
I mean, I hear you, but all right. You know what? If we're gonna have this beef right now, okay.
Nice.
SPAS12, right? I love this arm brace because the purpose behind it is to be able to shoot while it's like hooked under your bicep for added control. But like, why? Why would you do that? It is either, I believe this one's semi-only in-game, but yeah, you can either rack it, or there's a selector here to allow you to be able to use the pump action.
Yeah, the selector sits right below the where the slide sits on the other side. Yeah.
Well, that's the bolt release.
No, not that. On yeah, that side is what I'm
This?
talking about.
No, gamer, this unlocks the port to allow you to load shells, meaning you have to take both, like, your shooting hand off in order to reload this gun. So you know what we were trained for, where we like throw the first shell in, close it, and then load and pop if someone comes around the corner? You can't do that with this.
I feel like that's an easy bypass.
I mean, you have to ruin a, like, you have to effectively take apart a incredibly rare, almost museum piece, because a lot of these were from the 80s, and very few of them made it into the States before the ban.
G24 says, we all love some hot brass. Also, I want to add, one of my favorite Yakuza character uses this gun in the stupid Yakuza zombie spinoff.
That's fair.
Majima.
But yeah, this thing was... This thing was in competition with the like C96 and a different pistol that we'll get to later. But generally speaking, this is just kind of what pistols like were back then.
Yeah, I feel like that's some shit from like the movie Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
A little bit. It's very, very kind of steampunk Victorian pistols.
Very much. How about you, you dastardly scoundrel? Well, I have more shots than you. Haha.
If I remember correctly, that one did not pass the anime test, and but it was featured on Forgotten Weapons.
Correct.
Okay. So our next kid, the Bayard
Wait, hold on.
1908.
Did you say it didn't pass the anime?
Oh my god.
It did.
Does
That
not
one
pass
did.
the anime
That
test.
previous one did not, or did it?
No.
Yeah. I
Well,
didn't think
hold
it
on. What? Okay, I've been kind of just letting y'all do whatever, but what does it need to pass the anime test?
So it
To
just
be featured in an anime?
no.
It just needs to be featured in an anime.
Nope.
No. When you Google image search results for it, is there like an anime character holding amongst the results? That's the
So
anime
it
test.
appearing in Yakuza Dead Souls wouldn't
No.
make it pass.
No, it's a video game.
Effectively, yeah. So what I base the
Damn,
anime
y'all
test
hating on my
on
niche games. Fuck y'all.
is if I just look up name of gun and nothing. Because of course, if I look up name of gun anime, I'm gonna find it. Like, but that's not part of the anime test. It's just whether or not I search the name of the gun, and in the Google image results among like actual photos, people shooting it, YouTube links, that at some point there is an anime character drawn or animated holding said gun.
Pouring out from a homie Majima. He doesn't deserve this disrespect. He is an anime girl.
What the fuck am I looking at?
This is
Y'all know Girl Me was a real anime girl. Fuck y'all.
This is the Bayard 1908. Again, another example of just what pistols were like before the 1911. And like,
We're gonna stamp all of our pieces out of one sheet of steel.
it's just a little guy. It's
Just a little guy.
Just a tiny, tiny little friend. And yeah, a absolute fucking joke as far as sights go.
But yeah, the rear is bigger than the front.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
That is fucking. Oh.
Yeah, so this is a 25 ACP, if I remember correctly.
32, it says.
Oh, 32 ACP. So this would be the, like, Fallout 3 round. But, yeah, just a,
I'd
just,
rather.
just a tiny little guy. Yeah, this was, like, sort of pocket pistol before pocket pistols were, like, quote-unquote mainstream. I'm pretty sure you could, like, appendix carry this pretty comfortably. I don't know if you'd want to with such a tiny round.
Thunder pouch that shit, dude.
Fucking thunder pouch. Have I talked about Thunderwear?
Thunder Pouch
No, I'm
sounds like a
scared.
slur.
So, my dad entered a business venture back, like, before Etsy was a thing to produce a garment known as Thunderwear.
Comment by G24KW.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm just reading the comments, man.
Fair enough. But it was basically like I'm gonna call it what it is. It was a thong that was also a holster. You could put
Oh
the
my
gun on
God.
one side and like a couple magazines on the other. He made like a couple hundred of them, and I don't think they sold any of them. I keep forgetting to ask if he still has any. Because now that Etsy's a thing, I think like there's a commercial rise where there wasn't in the mid 2000s when he was trying this.
Last I remember, there like when we all lived together at the hostel, there were like 30 of them just hanging around the house.
Yeah, he had like a box of them. I'm pretty sure he still has them somewhere.
And they were all like different colored too. Like you had like the classic like '80s neon, like tiger stripes shit. You had like the neon colors. Obviously, you had camo colors too.
Mhm.
I think he had one that was digicam.
Classic. This one, did I already talk about Forgotten Weapons and anime test? Because I'm pretty sure this didn't pass the anime test.
Yes, you did.
Not pass the anime test, nor was it on.
Forgotten Weapons.
So, we get to go a little bit ahead to World War II. And the thing I love about World War II above all else is the innovation that it bred.
Oh, the NVG.
This
Yeah, that's a
is-
night vision optic.
Yep, this is a night vision optic. More
Oh.
specifically, it uses this to broadcast a giant infrared beam, and then this is an infrared scope that picks up on said light emitted
Beam.
from this. It's controlled
Whoa.
from a like foregrip that they very clearly stamped onto here. But yeah, this is where night vision started. Was with things like this. I believe this one was specifically called the Snooper Scope, which is hilarious.
Yes.
The Germans had a version of this on the STG-44 or the MP-44, known as the Vampire.
It was on the MP-44 and the Gewehr, actually.
Gotcha. There's also I saw photo evidence that there are a couple versions of this where they put the scope or the like flashlight under here on like the bottom as part
Yeah.
of the like foregrip attachment. But yeah, again, and like obviously it's a little hard to show like here in a well lit warehouse, but this was where night vision started. This also came with a like backpack that was like hand crank battery powered.
Now, here's the thing that you should tell the party.
Mhm.
Hey, Dave, how much did all of this weigh?
Roughly about 25 pounds, somewhere in that
Oh my
neighborhood.
God.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
just the rifle, but like the backpack and all of the like equipment needed to run this.
Wow.
But
Still,
It's insane that night vision goggles came from this horrendous monstrosity.
mhm. Yeah, how it started. Nope. Yeah, by the way, fun fact, modding breaks all of the
TF2 stock sniper. Comment by G24KW.
you said
It does
what,
very
sorry?
much look like something. TF2 stock sniper.
Yeah,
Oh,
It does
I see
yeah, I
it.
straight up
see it.
look like something out of TF2.
but yeah, where it started, how it's going. So, goodbye. I couldn't find that gun specifically as far as like any sort of anime reference. And I believe they did talk about it on Forgotten Weapons.
That's what it
Gotcha.
says on your notes.
Cool. All right. Any questions so far? We're all doing well.
Doing good.
All doing pretty good.
I'm still disappointed in you guys for not counting Guromi as an anime girl. How dare you?
Should have been on Google image results then.
Yeah, like, you need to
All
get
right,
in there
all right,
and do
all right.
some SEO.
Fine.
So, what the hell is this?
I don't know.
This
It's a
is
jackhammer.
so this is known as the 612. I'm not naming the company for a very funny reason. But generally speaking, this is sort of a platform style revolver shotgun. Not the only one. We will go through a couple revolver shotguns in this presentation. What's noteworthy about this guy is here it is in like
There you
its
go.
standard configuration.
There's Majima holding his SPAS12. Go fuck yourself.
Cool.
And there's Majima, and with a nice picture of Garomi. So fuck you.
Cool. They advertised a like integrally suppressed version of this, which yes, you can suppress a shotgun.
Why would you?
There are a couple reasons.
I'm gonna breach this door quietly and then immediately set everything off with a fucking grenade.
The other use for this is it can be sort of taken down to a more simplified version and mounted underneath an existing rifle to be used as an underbarrel shotgun.
Which is totally legal according to the ATF.
Yeah, so this was funny. I could not find any laws concerning attaching one gun to another gun, as long as both guns are legal within their like respective rights. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Hell yeah.
So you mean I can get my MGL with my 4 grenade launchers on the sides?
Sure.
Yes, exactly. Exactly that.
Again, nothing is technically stopping you.
My wallet.
Aaron, does this one pass the anime test?
Negative.
Cool. So as far as forgotten weapons, maybe he'd want to cover something interesting like this, right?
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't. And I mean, this game is featured in like Rainbow Six Siege. It's been in a couple other video games. It's here, obviously. So why didn't I name
game instead of gun?
Why didn't I name a company that makes this?
Damn.
Because they threatened a lawsuit?
So it doesn't exist. Like it
What?
does. But the thing about it is the first manufacturer that I could find attached to this is Crye, spelled C-R-Y-E. But they're a clothing brand?
Hey?
And so that led me down a rabbit hole of like, okay, why would a clothing brand make a shotgun? And I can't remember the name of the company that like took it over after that, but it was effectively the CEO or the COO of Crye founded a firearms company specifically to make this thing. And there just hasn't been a peep about it since like 2018. Like I found one article from 2021 talking about it and a bunch of Reddit posts of people like, where did this go? This is a cool idea. And then just crickets. And so it's a fascinating rabbit hole because I want to know, like, this is cool. I want to know what happened to it.
I think we all know what happened.
Tell me. Or I guess tell the class.
A 3-letter agency picked it up and was like, no.
Yeah. Speaking of 3-letter agencies, it's your boy.
Ah, the Pancor.
The Pancor Jackhammer.
Pancor.
Nope, there we go. So, a couple things I want to note. This is the movie prop variant where they took the foregrip from an MP5 SD and put it onto like a wooden mock-up that they had. I can't remember for which movie it was for. I'm also very humored by the rails in here because like you wouldn't be able to get anything on there.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way to get anything slipped into the... Like, you would have to slip it all the way from the front. Which would be
I
such
think
a
I know.
pain in the ass.
I think this was in the Stallone Judge Dredd.
Ooh, there you go.
I was gonna say, it looks really familiar.
Yeah, it comes with this 10-round drum magazine and does the funny. Something I did not know until I did research for this is apparently the company who made this and like tried to get it greenlit, they made a like version where you could turn this entire 10-round drum into an anti-personnel mine.
Huh?
That's fucking awesome.
Like,
Oh no! And now you have no legs, Lieutenant Dan. Like that's fucking rad.
correct. You'll also notice these kind of like interesting striations here.
Yeah.
The idea is that as it like goes back, that is what's actually rotating. Like the action is going through and rotating the cylinder into each notching. That way you're not using the weight of the trigger pull to rotate the entire cylinder like on traditional revolvers.
Interesting.
That's really cool.
They only made a couple of these that were like firing models, and the Army tested them to, like basically to destruction, and decided not to go with it, mostly because of its like unconventional design. But the guy
Didn't
who
they go with
made
the
this
instead?
yeah, I think they kind of stayed with like the Mossberg and eventually moved over to like the Benellis, but they still have some of those Mossbergs, man. Those things just don't quit. But yeah, the guy who designed this came out of the Korean War and was like, fuck that shit, we need a semi-auto drum-fed shotgun. And this is only preceded very gently by the dude who came out of the Vietnam War and said, fuck that shit, we need a full auto drum-fed shotgun, and created the AA-12.
You know, both are valid points. I will say that.
I find it hard to disagree.
But can the Pancor Jackhammer fire the AA-12 12 gauge grenades?
The explosive
No.
ones, hypothetically.
Great. A gun will shoot anything at least once.
At least the oh god. For safety reasons, no.
Do not for safety and Geneva Convention.
Safely.
But moving on,
She's not listening.
I'm fairly confident that one passed the anime test.
Yes,
Yeah.
it also passes the furry test.
That's
Oh.
true. I think we found several instances of furries with the Pancor Jackhammer specifically. So
That's awesome.
hilarious! Hooray!
I'm late for sending you that clip of Field Marshal Zukov. It's the clip of like,
furry
congratulations,
bullying medals. Yeah.
here's your medal, and it's like Field Marshal Zukov and all the medals on his chest, and it just says me.
So Austin, you brought up Helsing earlier,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to school you in front of the class. This, I'm fairly confident, is the
That's the-
anti-tank rifle.
yeah. So that's the second one that they gave her, and they gave her two. Remember, because you almost had a conniption fit because they belt fed it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is the 14.5 by 114 millimeter that I was talking about earlier.
Jesus
God.
Christ, I'm cracking. Because people can't be a problem if they're fucking liquid vapor.
Yeah, so this was a Soviet anti-tank weapon. You would generally notch it in there. I also love the safety on this because it literally just prevents your like trigger finger from going into the magazine well. That's all it does.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so when we're dealing with anti-tank rifles, better.
Wow.
Yeah, so this was also featured in Call of Duty World at War, which is, in my opinion, the last good Call of Duty game. And you see the guys just like running around with it, but this is also like a 28, 29 pound rifle. It's like there's no fucking way.
Hey. Just because you're
Dave,
jealous
my
of someone
count-
else's gains doesn't mean you can't respect.
Dave, if your option is to run around with a 28-pound rifle or be shot, which would you choose?
Probably running around with the 28-pound rifle. That said, speaking
And
of
there's
running
your
around, the Soviets also made versions of this that were on like wheels, like a little cart that you could roll around. They also made a version that had an extended magazine that was usually paired with those wheeled like gun carriages.
Well, yeah, because the reason why they did that is because they had roving squads of just anti-armor infantry to cut back on like the tank manufacturing. Because they had the bodies, right, but they didn't have the equipment to supply the bodies.
Right.
Does that make sense in the beginning? And so they made weird little shit with like guns with wheels and stuff like that to be like, okay, this one man can kill like 5 tanks.
Yep, they absolutely loved that shit. I am pretty sure this passed the anime test, and there's almost no way in fuck I would be able to hold it like this without breaking my wrist.
That's quitter talk, Dave.
It sure did.
You go to the gym.
It also passed
strong
the
gear.
furry test again.
This is true. It did pass the furry test.
Austin, you remember that fish I sent you? Talking about working out? We need to get that fish for Dave. He's talking about not being able to lift 30 pounds with one hand. Let's lift some weights. It'll be
It's
good.
like basic Schwarzenegger that's like, no, you need to lift weights, little girl, man.
Yes.
So moving swiftly along,
What?
this is the Pentagun.
The Pentagon?
This will probably be the last. No, unfortunately.
Not as functional.
Nope.
Wait, hold
By
on.
the way, this will
the hammer at the
be the last. Yeah,
Sorry, this will probably be the last.
the last gun I gotta go over because I got work tomorrow.
Gotcha.
I was gonna say, yeah, I should probably head out after this too.
But yeah, another revolver shotgun. I don't know if this is a bullpup.
Yeah, does that count?
Is
I mean, technically, like the chamber is slightly behind where the shooter's hand is.
I because I hate it. Because I hate it, I'd say it counts.
Because you hate it, you say it counts. Cool.
I love that. That's awesome.
That is my opinion.
Before you go, Austin, because there was one gun I wanted to torment you with specifically. Although I will add, the literal Obrez is in this game as well. Oh well.
Amazing.
Nice.
So they did an update for April Fools, and you know the L85 that you love and cherish.
What in the fuck am I looking at?
They unbullpupped it.
You know what? That works better.
you would actually run this.
I would actually run that because it's
I will
not
catch y'all
bullpup. It's
later.
fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, unbullpup your
Cheers,
L85.
Spencer. But yeah.
I would run that, unironically.
Hell yeah. So the Pentagun was out of Brazil. Yeah, cheers, Austin.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in.
Good night.
See ya.
Yeah, I think one of the only games I've actually seen this featured in was Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier.
Oh, okay.
And obviously this game. So something to be said for all that. And I will be honest, I'm not 100% sure what, like, that is.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to explain that.
Yeah,
and you didn't.
I wish I had, because my best guess is that you would, like, push that in to release the cylinder, and then what's back here is kind of like a lock. That's my best guess, but yeah, I'm fascinated by the notion of revolver shotguns, just because, like, that's so much goddamn metal, like, centralized in one, like, cylinder area. Plus you have to be, you know, careful with which rounds you use, because you can kind of see in there that if you use a shotgun shell that fits initially, it may jam the whole thing when it unfurls after firing.
Oh, interesting.
Does this one pass the anime test? I don't remember if I...
It does.
Okay. And then
Don't ask me why, but it does.
But it does. Yeah, I thought about including the pictures, but I didn't want to go through and have to, like, credit all of the artists and everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was like, I would, but that's a lot of work. So next we have the DShK, or the DShK. Oh, that's weird. Why did it only spawn the 2 boxes? Oh, that's right. Because it's hiding over here.
Wow.
So, this is the aforementioned DShK. Come on. Sir. There you go. Oh god.
Oh my god.
Let's unfurl it to our standing position. So this is a 12.7 by 108 millimeter machine gun. This one, since this is a modded gun, it doesn't actually have, like, the little belt linkages.
Yeah.
But I mostly wanted to talk about it because it's just got this kind of, like, internal cylinder that spins
Oh, yeah.
the rounds.
Okay.
And so how do I charge it, right? Because obviously you've got to chamber it to do the thing.
Oh my god.
Oh, right. No, come on. I love this little hammer that's off here on the side.
Oh, crazy.
Barrel's red hot already.
Nice and glowing. So, yeah, this thing, what I was particularly humored by during my research is the Soviets talked about how this was favorable to other, like, heavy machine guns because it was quote-unquote easy to transport into, like, third world countries and across border checkpoints.
Okay.
And I'm looking at this whole thing, like, is obviously you don't
Ow.
necessarily need the tripod with it, but I'm like, okay, but how? Like, how is that possibly easier? Plus the, like, old school Soviets had this version, and you're intended to, like, sit right here to, like, do your turret business from behind this big steel shield. But I just love that they talked about this like it was a like easy to transport thing. I was like, maybe I'm not in the world of military logistics, but I'm looking at this like, I don't know how the fuck I would get this across like a border checkpoint or like hike this through the woods. I'm pretty sure this didn't pass the anime test.
It does not.
But it did pass the Forgotten Weapons test, because Ian actually has video of him, like, shooting one of these.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's very cool. All right, on to the AEK 919K.
Oh,
And I love
it's
this
so little.
I love this little thing. It's so small.
It's cute.
It's a single stack magazine for this. And the charging handle is this cute little button right there. And yeah, this was intended to be kind of like a, not quite a briefcase gun, but like, you know, Secret Service able to just kind of whip this out and like use a personal defense weapon like this in close quarters.
Mm-hmm.
It's also just sort of the like, I don't know, there's just something about its design that strikes me as like the like Toyota Celica, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like, it just kind of looks like one, you know? I don't know if I'm the only one, but... I also absolutely adore this, like, box of a suppressor that they ship it with.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just-
that is.
Cube.
It's so interesting looking. I like it though.
Yeah, one of the more, like, obscure ones for sure. But, did this one pass the anime test?
No.
Cool. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't on Forgotten Weapons, because there's a lot of, like, modern Russian stuff that he just hasn't covered.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
Alright. Now, Austin mentioned this one earlier. This is the M93
Whoa.
Raffica. So, a couple noteworthy things. You've got your extended barrel with the ports there. You've got your extra long magazines. I kind of like the taller frame on this one. But tell me, what makes this pistol so interesting is its burst fire.
Oh,
And it also
It's,
comes with a little steel folding stock.
little thing at the front, is it like a foregrip?
Yeah, you hold that and keep it steady when you're doing your thing.
It looks like a leg.
It kind of
It
does.
does.
So the other fun fact I have for this one is it was the base of RoboCop's gun.
Oh.
Oh,
So, yeah. There's a lot of, like, Hollywood guns where they've taken an existing firearm and, like, added shit to it. But if you look hard enough, you can see kind of the, like, base elements. I'm
yeah.
fairly confident. Yeah.
Okay, I see it completely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, I love Hollywood for shit like that. Raffica, also, I couldn't find a, like, firm translation on it. It either means, like, flurry or whirlwind.
Okay.
Likely because of the burst fire. But, yeah, very, very interesting lineage. I'm confident that this one passed the anime test, but I could be wrong.
Does not.
It does not. Okay. Did it pass
Although
the Forgotten Weapons?
you do have a note that says, but I did find the KNEX version.
Oh, that's right. So, Kinex is like a Lego type, like, building block system.
Okay.
And someone made a whole, like, working one out of, well, working, in air quotes, one out of Kinex.
Wow.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And it does have a Forgotten Weapons entry.
Cool. Alright, back to... now, this one I was pretty sure was going to piss Austin off. So this is the Gyrojet.
What the hell?
It is both a pistol and a... If I can... There we go. So
What?
they sold this as a like pistol carbine type deal. But we'll just focus on the pistol side of it right now. So these are some pretty funky looking rounds.
Yeah, I'd say so. Oh, it's so quiet.
So it's so quiet, but these are also they're not bullets, they're rockets. Which is why this whole thing is open, because it's literally like all of the thrust is leaving out the sides.
Oh.
Now, one thing when I first saw this gun and like had its premise explained to me, I was like, oh, duh, this is the kind of gun you'd use in space, right? Because very little like force imparted back on the user.
Oh.
However, my research, it showed me that that was incorrect. This was intended to be armor piercing.
What? Okay.
Like, the rocket goes so fast and, like, so, you know, relatively speaking, so quiet that you're able to punch through armor. Like body armor, not like a tank.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other notable thing, you can still buy these, like, if you can find them. And I've heard tell that, like, finding one or finding a collector who has one is not the trick, per se. However, the rounds are like $200 a pop.
Oh my god.
And I'm just like, yeah, that's cool to think that I'd just drop like a paycheck every magazine. Now tell me, Aaron, did this one pass the anime test?
Yes, but only the rifle variant.
That's right. So the whole like carbine kit that we had earlier. And then yeah, I'm fairly confident they did a Forgotten Weapons on it.
Yes, they did.
Okay. So we go over to Turkey for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the UTAS UTS 15. It is a double feed single barrel shotgun that honestly does not look like it would be terribly out of place in any of the Doom games.
Yeah, it's just huge.
It's huge, and it's very I don't know, just generally sci-fi looking.
Mm-hmm.
But just to demonstrate, I won't load it fully because it holds like 7 in each. You can even see it notched there, plus 1 in the chamber. But yeah, you generally use this switch to tell it which side it's feeding from.
Oh, okay.
Come on. There we go. And yeah, it ejects them out that little port right there. So this thing would still be relatively unpleasant to use, like, left-handed. But as far as shotguns go... But yeah, these are commercially available. Like you can get your hands on these.
Wow.
I want to say the last time I saw one, it was like approaching 2K.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's kind of an upside down, like where the tube loads from the top and shoots out of the like bottom. There's another gun we'll cover later that's kind of an inverted version of this.
Okay.
But I can't remember if this one passed the anime test or not.
It does.
Excellent. And then Forgotten Weapons.
Negative.
Gotcha. Okay. Next, the HK CAWS, which is the only, like, major shotgun that H&K has ever really made.
Okay.
And the first thing to note by this selector here, it is full auto.
Okay.
The other thing to note is that doesn't really look like a shotgun shell, does
Yeah.
it?
That's interesting.
So this is a special round known as 12 gauge, like, what do they call it? It was like belted or something. But it's it's a brass casing as opposed to the plastic, but it is still like 12 gauge. And yeah, it has like 8 tungsten like balls in there,
Oh
but they
my
also
God,
had like
okay.
flechette rounds. They had full-on tungsten slugs, and I'm just thinking about like that much powder. I don't want to get hit by a tungsten slug.
No, absolutely not.
This was, and you may notice some of the similarities in just the overall design, which, by the way, that would suck ass to like have to deal with against your shoulder. Just a perfect 90-degree stock, just
Yeah.
stuck there. It's got the carrying handle of a scope. Pretty like traditional reticle as far as most of these are concerned. But yeah, this was sort of in partnership with the G11 that we were looking at earlier. So if it looks similar to that, it's because it sort of came out of the same program.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, yeah, and there it is. Oh, well, there it was empty. For whatever reason, this was the only shotgun the Germans ever did. They don't like shotguns, I guess. Or I guess specifically H&K. Now, you have the floor, Aaron. Did this one pass the anime test?
It does pass the anime test.
Impeccable. And how about Forgotten Weapons?
No. But you have a note here saying that searching for it returned the results for the M90 shotgun from Halo.
That's right. So apparently,
which Forgotten Weapons did do an episode on.
yeah, they did an episode on the Halo shotgun.
Interesting.
Which is all that, like, searching up the HK CAWS returned results for as far as Forgotten Weapons.
Weird.
So this...
Oh my god.
I actually remember that episode.
Oh, yeah?
They had a fully functional replica of the Halo shotgun on the episode.
Hell yeah.
that's
It was
sweet.
chambered in a 12 gauge instead of the like fucking 8 gauge that the in-game one had, but
For sure.
you know, same thing.
Yeah. So this is the Beretta 950 Jetfire.
Oh
And
my god.
I love him because him's so small. Him's so... him's
This is the
so
25 ACP one.
That's right. Another interesting anecdote, I actually have range time with one of these.
Oh.
And they're not the worst thing ever.
Okay.
I'd struggle to call it like a good gun. Again,
Okay.
the Italians kind of like, they love these sorts of like boot guns. The Italians are also really obsessed with like revolvers, old-timey cowboy shotguns, like spaghetti western stuff. So, yeah, that, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I couldn't find any, anime of this one.
No.
Gotcha.
But you have a note here saying it passes the bond test.
It
which
does.
I'm
This
not
In a
familiar
Bond?
with.
this came up in one of the Bond movies. I don't think I noted which one. So, moving on.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, we talked about this pretty extensively. So just real quick, Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think that is or does?
I have no idea, and I'm very scared of it. It's the weirdest looking round I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty
I don't-
wonky.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It doesn't look like any like anti-armor round I've seen. I don't
Mhm.
know.
So this is the APS underwater rifle.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, this is meant to be used by divers. If it'll let me, yeah, there we go. So the idea is you get divers under the water, and like regular firearms don't work so good underwater.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, they go underwater with these. However, what came up in my notes that I was fascinated by is you can use these above water. However, it notes that like doing so would like severely degrade the usage of the weapon. Like it's not intended to be fired above water. They also added all of these like ports so that it would create less bubbles, because I guess a problem they were having is when you're aiming with all that scuba gear and whatnot and you fire, it's just an ocean of bubbles up in front of you.
Okay.
They also talked about how like reducing the bubbles would also make the diver in question like harder to see, for as difficult as it already is to see shit underwater.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole idea is this is like a spear gun type round that
Okay.
goes through the water. I believe I put in the notes that I have a fun fact about this one.
Yes.
Would you like to know the fun fact? Because this was developed in like the 70s, 80s, sometime around then.
I would like to know the fun fact.
I want to know.
It is still in use today.
What?
Oh.
They still field these. These are
Oh
still
my god.
out there underwater doing, and like when I was doing research on these, I was like, is there a whole subset of like fucking underwater like battles that I'm just missing? Like, and that we'll just never know because no one goes down there. But yeah, apparently these are still in use today.
Wow.
Does it pass the anime test?
It does not pass the anime test.
Splendid.
Oh,
And I'm
man.
again confident that it wasn't on Forgotten Weapons either.
You have it noted that it was not featured in a video, but it was in a written article.
That's right.
Okay.
I didn't even know that they had written.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
either.
they have a whole website. And now I get to talk about the American 180. Folks may recognize
Whoa.
this as the 22 SMG from Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
The thing about it is it's real.
Just spraying. It doesn't stop.
So that's pretty fun. I would love to
Yeah.
get range time with one of these at some point. They make a semi-auto civilian version, which I can only imagine how long it would take to just sit there and like single plink this entire drum magazine, because I think this holds like 100 rounds.
That sounds right, considering what we just saw.
Here's the thing that got me during my research. They make a double barrel version.
What?
It's like
what purpose?
It's like a turret platform, and there's two of them, and like the discs are kind of like offset like this, and it has like a central fire control group. It's meant to be used as like a turret emplacement kind of deal, but still uses a 22 like long rifle round.
Oh my god.
Do you want to know the other fun fact?
Yes.
They also make a quad barrel version.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
I saw a picture of it and I was just like, there's no fucking way this has to be fake. But the more I looked into it, it was real. They make a quad barrel version of this thing. Was it in or did it pass the anime test?
No.
Cool. And I'm pretty sure it was on Forgotten Weapons.
Yes, the civilian version was featured on Forgotten Weapons.
Aye. So I mostly included this one to fuck with Austin. I didn't think he would have like left before now. But the thing about the Thompson, right? It's a 45. Like, you know, we know it for the big drums and the Chicago typewriters. The
Yeah.
That's a pretty funny fat magazine for this. And it's because this is a 30 carbine version of the Thompson.
Okay.
So, and again, just for comparison's sake, this is 45. That's what it's originally chambered in.
Okay.
The thing about it, and Aaron, you and I talked about this a little while, and I completely forgot to bring this one up. This was denoted by the designer as its intention of being a quote-unquote light rifle.
Okay.
Sort of like lightweight, intermediate cartridge, but in like a transportable platform.
Okay.
This sort of idea, intermediate cartridge in a like some like sub rifle sized round, is what assault rifles became.
Oh.
And everyone talks about the STG-44 or the MP-44 possibly being the first assault rifle, or the AK being the first assault rifle. I'm in the camp that the AK is the first, but I have to denote that like it wasn't a unique idea that the Germans had with the STG-44. Even the Americans were fucking around with, you know, shit like this.
Yeah, interesting.
And so, yeah, that like even if Kalashnikov had not made the AK, I think we still would have ended up with what we now know as assault rifles. I also couldn't find any anime pics specifically of the 30 carbine Thompson. Oh, well, find me that way. But yeah, this sort of shit is Ian's bread and butter. So of course I found a Forgotten Weapons on it. Now we get to talk about the Gepard. I love this thing.
What the?
So, the Soviets, and you'll notice that the soundboard hasn't gone off. I specifically turned it off because I knew that I was going to be talking about the Soviets a lot, and I didn't want it going off and blaring every, 30 seconds or so. But the Soviets ran into a rather unique problem, which is their big honkin' like AK rifles, right? They're big, they're hefty, and when you're running like a security service or protecting the head of the state or whatever, this is too bulky, this is too big. And even the rifle, like, round for this is too bulky and too big. And so it led to this whole development program around taking AKs and making them shoot 9mm rounds.
I
and
was
so
just
you get
gonna
cute.
say that this looked like a mini AK.
It's sort of a mini AK. It has, I want to say the articles I found said like a 60% parts commonality between it and the AKS-74, which is like the Carbine variant of that. But I also love it because Gepard just means cheetah. So it's a little cheetah rifle.
That's so fun.
Yeah, this is not the only one of its type. There were, again, the Soviets were like, oh fuck, we need like 9mm AKs. And so several different design bureaus and several different companies approached the task for it. And I also like, it's a little suppressor. Just...
Aww. A wee one.
Yay. So I love this thing. Also, I found footage that they're doing like an American clone of this from the like 2025 SHOT Show, so I might see one of these at the range pretty soon. Who knows?
Pretty cool.
But yeah, does this one pass the anime test? I don't think it did, if I recall. It does? Cool.
Yes, that's what you have listed here.
Gotcha.
However, Ian has not looked at it.
Indeed. Alright.
Oh my god,
So this
I
is
remember
the
this one.
This is the HKP11, and yeah, we talked about this a tiny bit. I did a little more research into it and what it does and everything that it's involved with. The main thing, just to show our lovely viewing audience, that's pretty quiet, right? Mostly because it's like a contained whole round in there. But I looked this up and was trying to figure out what its intended use for. It's an underwater pistol. They just, again, what kind of warfare is going on under the waves that I'm just so unaware of? But the thing about this, and just to sort of show the like broken versus the unbroken like sets there, because there are darts in here. It's electromagnetically fired, so there's a whole like battery unit in here that sort of shoots these all off. This whole like 5-round cylinder, in order to reload it, you have to send it back to H&K.
What the?
Yeah, you have to send it back to them, they repack it, and then send it back to you. But in the field, you can just take like the individual like chunks out.
Okay.
So this was another one that was developed in like the 70s, and again, like when I think of Soviet like diver espionage and the kind of guards that would need to be like waiting in ports and like shooting dudes with this underwater, that makes sense during that time, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Do you know when this thing was discontinued?
No, I'm scared.
Never! It's still in use! They still use these!
Why?
I don't
Who's
know!
using these?
I don't know! But, yeah, like, and apparently, this was another thing they were talking about, of, like, you can use it above water as well, like the other underwater rifles. And I just have to sit there like, okay, but why? Like, you have a pistol that's meant to be used underwater, with these hilarious sights that I think would be just a nightmare to work with, like with all the bubbles and scuba nonsense going on. But yeah, this is still in use today, apparently.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right? Does this one pass the anime test? I can't remember.
Does not pass the anime test, but was in Tomb Raider.
That's right.
Oh my god, yep.
Yeah, I found several screenshots of Lara Croft like coming out of the water and pointing this thing.
Yeah, I remember that. I just don't remember which game that's in.
It was one of the movies actually, but it might have
Oh my
also
god,
been.
is the Angelina Jolie one?
Yeah, those were the screenshots I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether or not it was in any of the games, I don't know. I've never played any of the Tomb Raider games. I'd like to, just never got around to it.
Yeah, I'd recommend them.
Well, maybe we'll have to do that with my completely legitimate PlayStation.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
I mean, I own all of them on GOG.
Nice. All right, moving swiftly along.
Too.
This is a kind of bulky, chunky looking revolver, right? Nothing too crazy. Definitely not the hand cannon we saw earlier. So, what's weird about this one? Huh? What could possibly be?
There's a.
Oh my god! How many rounds is that?
So this is the Smith & Wesson R8. So it holds 8 rounds of .357 magazine. What made researching this one hilariously difficult is that it's one of the main guns in CSGO. And so any hope of finding like anime references or any sort of like legitimate information about this gun outside of just the product page on Smith & Wesson's website was so fucking difficult because of people, like, because you search this thing up and it's like, you know, oh, here's how you use this gun in CSGO, and I'm like, I don't care.
That's so funny.
But yeah, because of that, if you look it up on like Google Images, it's nothing but just all the skins for this and a whole bunch of like CSGO nonsense. So it didn't pass the anime test by virtue of that. And I am also pretty sure that it hasn't been featured on Forgotten Weapons.
No.
So now we move on. Again, this was another one I was hoping Austin would be around for, because we have another bullpup rifle. So this is the...
so space agey.
This is the M17. This competed...
Oh my god.
This competed with the Steyr AUG for the contract for the Australian military's main rifle. Semi-unfortunately, the AUG won out over this thing for use in like the Australian military's operations. Theirs is, I'm pretty sure it's like the EF88 is their version of the AUG. But yeah, there's apparently there's a company here in the States that is like taking pre-orders, and again, we have another just one of those classic 90-degree stocks. They fucking love them, no matter how goddamn uncomfortable they are. But there's an American company that is like trying to revive this thing and like bring it to the commercial market. But I feel like I've beaten around the bush enough, because I've put the magazine in, but obviously that's not gonna get us where we need to go. So, how does one charge this weapon? Because there's the ejection port. There's nothing under there. Are you ready, kids?
Yeah. Oh my god.
You literally slide your hand in there and just like rack it back. And then
wow.
The fun
so
ensues.
Slick.
But yeah, so I don't think I found any anime of this one in my initial search.
It says it does not pass the test.
Yeah, figured it was one of those that was just slightly too obscure. Right. And now, we get into a gun that I did not know about until I played this game.
It's so bizarre looking.
This is the Dardick weapon system, and I don't specify revolver, because while it's technically a revolver, it does some funny things with these little champs right here.
What?
So when I first saw these, I thought that they were, oh, come on. There we go. I thought that it was caseless ammunition.
Yeah.
It turns out it's not. It's referred to as a tround.
What? Oh my god, a triangle round.
A triangle round, yep. And, yeah, so, the whole idea behind this, like, semi-auto, like, effectively, despite being, you know, fed in there through these, like, strange stripper clips. And I apologize, chat, if you're saying anything. My official chat guy left. So, please hold all applause, boos, and tomatoes till the end of the presentation. But, yeah, effectively he designed this, like, triangle round with the idea being that you could fit more of them into a smaller area than you could, like, a traditional circular round.
Mm-hmm.
And I call it a weapon system because there was a whole, like, rifle variant of this thing. They also made, like, different sized trounds that you could fit different, like, you could take existing calibers and put them into. And, what fascinated me about it is it seemed to just be a commercial failure because of how, like, wonky and weird the, like, round setup is. But the idea that you could put a existing round into something like this is pretty close to another anomaly that Aaron and I found while we were staying up way past our bedtimes at one point. And there's a company out there and they sell these, like, 12 gauge and, like, 20 gauge shotgun inserts that you put into your single shot, like, break action shotgun, or, like, double barrel or whatever. And then it has a hollowed out center that lets you put, like, a 40 S&W, a 45, 9mm, 38 special, like, whatever round that, like, pistol round or even rifle round that you want to put and shoot through your shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is sort of like an expansion on that idea specifically, but it seemed like it never had any sort of, like, commercial success. Did this one pass the anime test? I can't recall. I'm pretty sure it didn't.
Nope.
I also love that it just sort of looks like a Looney Tunes ass, like, pistol
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so
Great.
silly looking.
about it. And then I don't think it was on Forgotten Weapons, but I could be wrong.
It says that it was.
Gotcha. Now, we talked about this one a little bit. This is the whole reason I had to put this ammo panel over here. But this is the 1887... Oh, well,
Oh,
fine, fuck you.
grab the whole thing.
But this is the 1887 Nagant. And... yeah, so this was a Belgian police pistol.
Oh,
And what fascinated me during my research, because when I think Nagant, I think of, like, the Mosin Nagant or the Nagant, like, revolver, which are both Russian-made weapons.
mm-hmm.
But what I learned through my research into this is Nagant is like they're some brothers out of Belgium that like helped design some of these guns, and this was one of the ones they made like outright as a police pistol. And I'm just fascinated by the double cylinder single trigger action of these. Like it's a fascinating sort of idea. But yeah, I don't think I found any anime of this, but it was in Battlefield 1, if I recall.
Yes.
And then Aaron, what did he talk about it on Forgotten Weapons?
Yes.
Cool. All right, we get to talk about the KS-23.
I remember this one.
Okay.
So, when you think Doom Guy, this is the shotgun that comes to mind for me. This is a 6-gauge shotgun. Now, again, just to kind of like show folks. 20. Oh, where am I? I thought they would have been right over there. Okay, there we go. The hell are the 12 gauges? Okay, anyway. So, just so our lovely viewing audience can get an idea, this is a 12 gauge. This is already the shit that ruins your fucking day.
Oh my god.
That's twice as much gauge.
Now, what makes this noteworthy, and I was delighted to find out during my research, this was originally intended to combat prison riots in the Soviet Union. Which, when I think of, like, what on earth I would need a 6-gauge shell for, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Soviet prisoners? Sure. Not folks I want to tussle with by any stretch of the imagination. But all of that said...
Weren't they made from like leftover anti-aircraft barrels?
So you'll notice the ribbing for her pleasure, but yes, this is a like 23mm anti-aircraft gun barrel that they took and like machined into these shotguns.
That's awesome.
Specifically designed, like they had to make their own special like shotgun shells for them, and it's not just like buckshot like we see kind of used here. They made all sorts of like they made all sorts of like flechette rounds for them. There's all kinds of like explosive rounds, since it's like you could, if you wanted, probably get a 23mm like anti-aircraft round in there. How well you'd be able to deal with the recoil is sort of broken wrist territory, but all that said, did this one pass the anime test?
It does pass the anime test.
Because of course. And I don't think it was on Forgotten Weapons, mostly because, again, I think he has a hard time covering the more, like, Russian ones.
Yeah.
Always classic. So, I get to talk about the M82A2! Yay!
Yay!
So anyone who's played Metal Gear Solid 4 will be familiar with the shoulder-mounted, helicopter-killing M82A2. That was not a joke. This thing was intended for ground troops to fight helicopters. That is the whole purpose of this. I was also very humored to find out during my research that it makes an appearance in the second Jurassic Park movie. Which, again, when I think of fighting dinosaurs, 50 caliber and, like, shoulder-mounted, you know, dom, dom, dom. What am I doing? Like, that is what I think of when it comes to dealing with fucking dinosaurs. Yeah, for its initial mission of providing ground-based support to take out helicopters, I don't know how much success it saw in that. But generally speaking, like, it's a nifty idea, and it's certainly a unique weapon. Apparently there are a couple of these floating around on, like, the civilian market, but they're extremely rare. They also made a version that's not 50 BMG. It's in, like, the 416 Barrett round. And I am more than confident that I found anime of that one.
Oh, yes. And naturally... Oh, my mistake. Ian from Forgotten Weapons covered the A1, but not the A2.
He might have talked about the A2 at some point, but I couldn't find any coverage of it, like, either through an article or any of his YouTube videos. So earlier we covered the Bergmann, which was sort of like weird pistols from the 1800s. This is another contender, the C93 Borchardt. And I don't care if I'm saying that correctly. But, this thing sort of predates the Luger and the C96. And I can't help but think, because another fun fact about the C96, just to pull it up real quick. So this is, like, effectively the next major production gun from this company. This was, from my research, the first, like, mass-produced production, like, self-loading handgun. And this was the first mass-produced production, fully automatic production pistol. Because back in the day, you could just have those. What's fun about the C96, and what I love pointing out, this is the base for Han Solo's blaster from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And there's a alternate history not too far from our own where this thing was the inspiration.
Oh my god.
But again, just kind of a weird, like, you know, it flips up the whole, like, sight picture in order to cycle the next round in. And I love this tumorous little growth at the back.
A little thing on the back.
Yeah. I don't think that one passed the anime test.
No, it does.
It does. Interesting. And then, was it on Forgotten Weapons?
Yes, and you humorously have noted that you found a photo of Ian posing it before you found the anime.
This is true. Okay. So, before I pick this thing up, I just want you to look at the entire table.
That is very long.
This thing is fucking massive. Like...
Yeah, oh my god. It's huge.
So, this is a Danish-made AK?
Oh,
but it's in 308. They did make a version later that was in like the traditional 7.62 AK round, the 7.62 by 39. But they built this as a way to get the Finnish military away from the AKs that they were using. And so they built this honkin' fucking massive goddamn rifle. And I love it because it's stupidly large.
yeah.
This is one where, like, I found it in this game and I was like, there's no way this thing is real. So I had to look it up, and of course it's real. It's fucking massive. Look at this thing. Look at this goddamn thing. This is, again, like, even my other 308 rifle over here, same caliber, like, look at the size difference. So, oh, well.
Whoa! Well, there it goes.
the NVR is just like, bye.
Yeah, anyway, see ya. But, yeah, so the hilarious thing is the Danish went through all this work to make this, like, service rifle that would be appealing to the Finns. And Finland was just like, yeah, we're neutral, so we're just gonna keep our rifles because they're cool. And I'm like, that's based. I'm here for it.
That's fair.
But again, like, what in the fucking steampunk? Especially with this, like, impossible to miss baby's first charging handle. And of course, like many other 308s, it's full auto.
Wow.
I don't think I found any anime of this one.
No, but you did say that it passes the furry test.
That's right, I could
Okay.
only find furry art of that one.
Hell yeah.
I say as if I looked. Again, I'm sure if I put Madsen LAR followed by anime, I'd find something.
Yeah.
So I talked about a 50 caliber pistol earlier, and when most people hear 50 caliber pistol, they think of like the Desert Eagle, right? And shit going on there.
What the
So
hell?
this funky little piece of engineering, again, sort of space age ray gun, like this thing would not look out of place in Starfield. But here's a curiosity. When we talk about 50 caliber, that just refers to the diameter of the bullet. It's a half-inch bullet. That's all it means, right?
Yeah.
So just to pull it up, the other more famous, as I roll right past it. Oh, no, just kidding. Aha. So the other very famous 50 caliber pistol is the Desert Eagle, right?
Yeah.
Big ol' honkin' bore, 50 Action Express, and like, that's a pretty long round. It's basically a revolver round. This is like, you know, your classic 50 caliber pistol. But clearly, when I talk about this being a 50 caliber pistol, I don't mean like 50 caliber like the M82 that we were just looking at. Do I?
Oh no. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So apparently this is a whole like hydraulic like system that helps with the recoil, plus this big honkin' fucking muzzle brake on the end of it. Plus this thing weighs like 10 pounds if I recall. But yeah, this is now there is some mercy in knowing that there is only one like functional one that's ever been seen.
Okay.
or like test fired. This thing never made it out of the prototype phase for obvious reasons, because again, I can't even begin to imagine the commercial application for something like this. And the most horrifying thing to me personally is Triple Action, the company that made this. They're out of Logan, Utah. I'm just like, God damn it!
2 hours north. You
Yeah,
just go,
2 hour-ish drive north, and you can be among the people who decided that was a good idea. And I'm pretty sure I found anime of it. I could be wrong.
Yes.
Yes. And not on Forgotten Weapons, because it's only the one.
Mhm.
So speaking of the Halo shotgun, we get to talk about the RMB 93. Now this is Russia's like production like police shotgun. This is like what they clear rooms with and all that other good stuff. Its design is a little unorthodox compared to our traditional shotguns.
Okay. Oh. They go in the hole.
Now, that looks pretty solid on there. I don't think I have any room to come back.
What the hell?
So it's known as like an inverted something system, but it's very similar to what's on a South African shotgun known as the Neosted NS2000.
Okay.
And it's not in this game, and there's not a mod for it, and I'm so fucking bummed that's the case, because that's another that would have made it on this list so fucking easy. But yeah, I love that you like rack the top open, load your shells in, close it up, pump it forward, and that's how you cycle out all the rounds.
Wow.
So yeah, as far as unorthodox shotguns go, pretty unique.
Yeah, absolutely up there.
And I do, again, being a Russian-made, like, currently in use shotgun, I don't think Ian with Forgotten Weapons has covered it.
No.
And did it pass the anime test?
It does pass the anime test.
Splendid. And now onto the Zip 22, an incredibly dangerous handgun. Speaking of Ian with Forgotten Weapons, he brought my attention to this thing. But yeah, I love that, like, there's a rear sight, but it's so horrifically blocked by the rail system that it's just completely useless. You charge it by punching that.
What?
Yeah, that is the charging handle. And then
Oh my god.
and yes, it takes like the Ruger 1022 magazines. So even like the drum mags they make for the Ruger 1022, you can get those if you want. But
Wow.
one of the more horrifying things I found while researching this one, and Ian didn't talk about it, and I don't know why he didn't think to talk about it, but one of the primary attachments that this company was willing to sell you was a rail adapter that made it like concave effectively, so you could attach this to the underside of a different gun.
Oh my god.
And again, I just have to sit there like, okay, when I think of an underbarrel mounted gun, I'm not like running out of ammo on my AR and then I'm just like, oh shit. Like, no, there's no universe where that, and I'm not breaching a door with that, right? How stupid is it if it's just like, oh. Okay, you should be able to like kick and breach now. No, you're not doing that.
So, a theory that I heard was that the Zip 22 was meant to be mounted on your rifle as like a less lethal option.
Interesting.
I understand that probably sounds like madness, but
It's
that
the
is
backup.
a theory that I heard.
It's the backup to my backup to my backup. Anyhow, on to
and yes, it does pass the anime test.
because of
Oh
course.
my god.
So I was hoping Spencer would still be around for this one, but I'll send this to him later. This is the M231 firing port weapon,
Okay.
and you'll notice this kind of screw segment here.
Yeah.
So
Threading.
the threading is if you are in a M2 Bradley or other APC, they have the like firing ports, and the whole point of this thing is to like screw into the like little nozzle that's there, and it has no sights because this is meant to be like fired out the side of a vehicle as like a, you know, keeping people away sort of sort of intention. Despite mostly being an M16, they only put like it only has an auto feature. And more fascinatingly, it's an open bolt design. So when you pull the trigger, it closes that and, you know, continuously fires. Like so. Now, interestingly, I could not find any information on this because obviously I spawned it with the C-Drum magazine. A lot of people think that this was the inspiration for the Patriot from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh.
But I couldn't find any info that confirmed that. Like, Hideo didn't talk about this, none of the designers talked about this. It sounds like, at least from what I was looking into, that the designers for Metal Gear Solid took a, you know, because when you use the Patriot in-game, it does have a rear sight. It just doesn't have a front sight. It's got this kind of weird circular grip. And during my research, I also found lots of stuff that was talking about they were like discouraging Marines and Army guys from taking these from the vehicles that they were intended to be used in. Which is sort of why it doesn't have the sights, and like they're instructed to only take this sort of thing in an emergency, because like you're not butting that up against your shoulder, and like the game doesn't demonstrate it terribly, but like this thing would be unwieldy at best. But I think that the like designers in Metal Gear Solid just took a like standard M16 and cut it down into its most like compact form with this sort of unique look. My other hint is that the Patriot is closed bolt. It's not open bolt. But a very neat, if wacky, weapon, at the very least. Especially to think that if you're just like a passenger in an armored personnel carrier, that there could just be one of those just like sticking out the side at any given time. Didn't pass the anime test if I remember, and I don't think Ian talked about it.
It says that he did.
Oh, he did? Cool.
It says so.
I trust my notes. So, this is the 9A91, and anyone who played Battlefield Bad Company 2 should be familiar with this. This is another weird example of, like, them trying to make personal defense weapons that were 9mm, but they misunderstood the assignment. To describe it charitably, because this is a 9x39. We talked about this round earlier. So it's a 9mm, but it's a honkin' fuck-ass rifle round.
Yeah.
You know, and sort of was built with this collapsible fold-in stock. And so they intended for this, from my understanding, to be used with, like, private security, tank crews, all those sorts of things. But it's just a fascinating example, and like this whole sight rail built into the side of it is also fascinating.
Yeah.
So a lot of the Russians, they love these kinds of optics here that attach to the side and sit up over the top. Yeah, they love this kind of shit. Oh, yeah. We are dry. Come on. There we go. But yeah, sort of a funky little Russian personal defense weapon.
A little guy.
Yeah, it's just a little, yeah, just for size comparison. Tiny little
Very
guy.
small, wow.
Yeah. Sitting myself. Yeet. Did pass the anime test, if I recall.
Yep.
But was not on Forgotten Weapons.
No. Though it is noted that he did cover the SR3.
Yes. So the that one was also made to be a cheaper version of the SR3M, which I can show.
Okay.
Yeah. There. So that one we just looked at is a cheaper version of this thing.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and I love these guys. They're wonky as hell. So traditionally with AKs, your like safety lever here is also your selector lever. But with this one, the selector is like behind the trigger. So your fire mode is dependent on like where that little back lever is.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Plus it has this like built-in foregrip. They also have an integrally suppressed version of this. This is the ASVAL.
Oh, what the? Okay.
Yeah, so suppressor built into the frame. And very interestingly, there's also a DMR version of this known as the VSS Vintorez.
Okay.
Russians, like, I don't know, they have this kind of weird thing, and I meant to talk about this with the 9A. The 9A91 has this, the VSK 94, which is like a sniper carbine version that has the fixed stock and uses that like big honkin' round.
Yeah.
The VSS Vintorez, similarly, is integrally suppressed, same sort of frame, classic wooden stock, and this thing is meant as like a designated marksman's rifle.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's a fascinating platform. But to move on with the presentation, this is the DP12. It is double tube and double barrel.
What the hell?
And I won't go through the trouble of like loading it to show, but it still only has a single trigger, but once you chamber both, first trigger pull does the right barrel, second trigger pull does the left barrel, and then you pump and it ejects for both chambers.
Oh.
You can, from my understanding, if you only fire one, like pump it and get a like 2 fresh shells in, but it has no way of determining which one you fired, so you'll lose 1 spent casing and 1 like live round.
Yeah.
What
the hell? That is so weird.
But yeah, again, sort of like loads from the back, bullpup, shotgun. And yeah, I don't recall if this one passed the anime test.
It does pass the anime test.
There you go. Ian from Forgotten Weapons, I didn't watch the podcast where he was talking about it, but he did like a Q&A episode.
Yes.
And part of the title was he found that shotgun annoying. And so like I wanted to go listen to it. I should have, certainly. But speaking of things that annoyed Ian, so the name of this in this game, it's called the worst shotgun ever made. But its designation, it's the Cobray Terminator. Yeah, you can see worst shotgun ever.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about this thing. So that might be the first note.
Interesting.
This is one of those guns that's like just a tube.
Oh, this is effectively a like legal pipe gun. Because it's one pipe inside of another pipe, and here's the thing about the trigger is you'll notice that when I pull the trigger, this whole thing slides back and hits a firing pin that's here at the rear. And the video that I watched of Ian using this thing, he went through like 30 shotgun shells just trying to get this thing to fire, because it would close and not fire, but it would like very gently strike the primer enough that he had to like cast away the shotgun shell, you know, re-secure it, put another one in, get it prepped to fire, click. And, like, because this thing is all spring-loaded coming back at you, its recoil on, like, a steel plate stock, even without the shotgun, like, part of it going off. And,
God.
He, even Ian remarked that of all of his shooting experiences, this was by far his least favorite. And I don't think it passed... No, it did pass the anime test, I remember.
Yes, it did.
Because I found it and I was like, what? Anyone even gives a shit about this thing? But to continue our saga of weird shotguns, I fell down a bit of a rabbit hole with this thing. So this is the Monolith Arms P12. Well, hypothetically, it is a 12-gauge shotgun that uses the same kind of rotary mechanism that a P90 uses.
Yeah.
Except it's pump action. You know, shells drop out of there, it's ambidextrous. The rabbit hole that I fell down with this is there only seems to be like a 3D printed like mock-up of what this would look like. Supposedly the design was sold to Magpul, but they haven't like done anything with it. And, like, it's unknown if the version that the guy posted is even, like, a firing, like, weapon. But I love this hypothetical, like, safety that just comes up and, like, physically blocks the trigger in.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, prevents your finger from getting in there.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, like, I'd buy one of these. Like, I don't know what kind of pouch that I would even begin to dream of fitting this into. But if I have whatever, like, 18 shells or however many they can fit in here, I think I need a pouch. I can just rock the mag on top. I don't think I found any anime of this one.
No
And
anime.
yeah, and Ian didn't talk about it, especially since there don't seem to be any firing prototypes.
Yeah.
But to continue our weird shotgun saga, so I mentioned earlier when we were looking at the, like, upside down one that had the 2 tubes on top and the 1 barrel on bottom.
Uh-huh.
This is the inverted version. This is the Kel Tec KSG. The shells rock out here in the bottom, so it's a naturally ambidextrous bullpup shotgun. 2 tubes, 1 barrel. And fun fact for the viewing audience, I used to own one of these.
Oh!
It was a bitch and a half to get it working.
Oh no!
Part of the problem is on this version, this little, like, receiver, this window back here, on the Mark I of the shotgun, which was the one I owned, they made this back end exactly the length of a closed shotgun shell.
Ah.
Now, I mentioned the unfurling earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the thing about the unfurling is that when it unfurls in the chamber, you need to, like, you know, the shotgun was in John Wick, the first
Yeah.
one, and you see him, like, violence in his heart, just, like, absolutely just, like, you know, throttling this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first watched that scene, I just thought it was because he was angry and upset about the given situation. Until I got behind this on the range and realized, oh, if you're not, like, threatening this thing's life every time you, like, rack it, it's not going to cycle.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I managed to get it working with any sort of consistency was there's a company in Mexico, and they make Aguila shotgun shells, and they're effectively half the size of a regular shotgun shell. Because with this I could fit like 7 in each tube, so 15 total rounds with 1 in the chamber. With the Aguilas, with the mini shotgun shells, because they're not exactly half, they're like a little more than half, I was able to fit 23 into this platform. And what is hilarious to me is they make an alternate version. You can find pictures of it, and I'm a little sad that it's not in this game. It's called the KSG 25, and the barrel and everything literally comes out to, like, where my hand is over here.
Oh my god.
It like, and it's supposed to hold 25, like, regular shotgun shells on a cartoonishly long barrel. But, yeah, that was the Kel Tec KSG. Did it pass the anime test?
It does pass the anime test.
Splendid. Man, I don't think it was on Forgotten Weapons, if I recall.
No.
Gotcha. So this is the Remington Police Carbine 7615.
Okay. A pump-action carbine?
It's a pump-action rifle, yeah. Chambered in 5.56, this thing takes M16 like Stanag magazines. This isn't the only one of its type, but I was fascinated to learn that there are states in the US where you can't hunt with a semi-auto rifle.
Oh.
And so Remington made these as like a way for people to be able to use these more like intermediate rounds without it needing to be like bolt action or lever action. It's my understanding that there are also versions of these, because you see this tube that the shotgun bit like goes along. There are versions where you put the rifle rounds like into the tube, and it's just a pump action rifle.
Interesting.
I couldn't find any anime of this one specifically, or any of the Remington carbines, though in fairness I did not look that hard. And similarly that like Ian did not cover them, but it's kind of a neat like notion of having like a pump action like police rifle.
Yeah.
So it was nifty. Alright. On to the 1911A1 Dillinger.
What the fuck?
This is one of those meme guns.
So it's funny you say that. So the real life application of this, because yes, they did make full auto 1911s. The like Thompson compensator and this specific wooden grip are a bit of a like embellishment. However, this is known as the 1911A1 Dillinger because of the Dillinger gang, and they had 1911s chambered in a round called 38 Super, which I could be wrong. Yeah, they don't have 38 Super here. But it's smaller than a 45. And it had like a compensator and a like built-in like foregrip. Some versions even had like a stock built into this little like lower section so you could shoulder it and do the full auto thing. But yeah, like the Bonnie and Clyde style like 1920s crime syndicates, like this would have seen usage alongside those.
It's insane.
Yeah. And so like I feel like through a lot of my early teens, when I was like really getting into guns, everyone was kind of shitting themselves over the Glock 18 and it being like, oh, it's a full auto pistol. And the more I studied history, I'm like, we've had full auto pistols forever. This is not something new. But yeah, it's a fascinating piece of history at the very least. And then I don't think I found any anime of it. And when Ian was talking about it on Forgotten Weapons, he covered like the Dillinger Gang 1911s, but not specifically the like full auto one.
Ah, okay.
Speaking of weird pistols, the Mag 7.
What the hell? Okay.
When I first saw this, I didn't think it was real. Especially because it has its own proprietary, like, 12-gauge shotgun shell.
Okay.
But, yeah, it is a 12-gauge pistol that is pump action. They do make a civilian version that has a stock and like a longer barrel. But I just love how like boxy and unergonomic this grip is. This thing would be so fucking uncomfortable to use.
Boxy.
So boxy. I'm pretty sure I found anime of this one.
Yes.
And then Ian has like footage of him shooting this one.
Mm-hmm.
This was another one mainly intended for Austin. This is the P38K Stubby. And it is a short barrel version of the Walther P38, which I can
Okay.
pull up for side-by-side comparison, assuming that I get to the right area. Yeah, here's our kid. So here's what the quote-unquote normal one looks like.
Yeah.
And the stubby.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just a tiny little barrel, but I love that they moved the sight from this like post here on the end to that little bit on the receiver, or on the slide rather. But yeah, they're cute little guys.
Anyone.
The interesting thing that was worth noting on these, this was like the Walther like service pistol that the like German officers were using during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
There were drawings for this type of like short-barreled, more concealable version of the P38, but this is a post-war version.
Okay.
This one like did not see service in World War II. No one would have carried anything like this. But it's so cute. This is a stubby little
I
guy.
know, it's so little.
And then it pops. I don't think I found anime of it.
No.
But I did find on Forgotten Weapons, Ian specifically talked about how like the post-war versions of the P38 aren't called the P38. It's like the P1 through the P4. And so this P38K, the stubby one, or the snub nose here, notably is not a P38. It's either a P1 or a P4.
Okay.
And then, speaking on weird Metal Gear Solid guns, the Mark 22 Hush Puppy.
Oh.
So yeah, this is Snake's suppressed tranquilizer pistol, and this one even has the notch system. Oh, right. Come on. Really, man. There we go. Come on. Very user unfriendly in this game, I must say.
Yeah, that's how it is at times.
But generally speaking, you can just use it as intended. But again, with a suppressor, the majority of the noise is actually coming from the cylinder, like, doing its thing. And so this whole mechanism was built into this where the user could hold down this back lever with their thumb and make a much quieter sound.
Okay.
And Snake, notably, that's why he's like pew pew doing his thing.
Yeah.
The real Navy SEALs that carried these, they obviously didn't use like tranquilizer rounds. They had green-tipped subsonic 9mm rounds. And as the nickname suggests from Hush Puppy, it was intended to deal with security dogs and sentries and guards and that sort of thing.
Okay.
One interesting thing that came up during my research is this is obviously in 9mm. And part of the reason that the SEALs wanted a 9mm pistol for this program was apparently if they used a 45, that was like the calling card of the Americans. If like a foreign country found 45 caliber shell casings, they're like, oh, the American like special forces have been here.
Okay.
They just know inherently. But yeah, kind of an interesting history.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Oh, did I find anime of that one? I can't recall.
No.
And then Ian, I'm pretty sure, talked about a different model of the Hush Puppy, not that one specifically.
Correct.
So this is the Viper Mk1 SMG.
Oh, interesting looking.
Yeah, what the fuck, right? So effectively, this is a Sten submachine gun that is
Okay.
inside of this like wooden frame, and this was intended to be carried by British like military police operating in West Germany during the height of the Cold War. And like this nub right here, it was effectively meant to be like brought up and just like fired, which is why it doesn't have any sights on it,
Oh.
because it's just like literally from here just
Yeah.
you know
What the hell?
hose whatever like Soviet prick was coming across the border on it.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah. And so I was fascinated by it because when I first came across it, I was like, is this some kind of like weird survival rifle where like it's all meant to fit into the back? But no, apparently it was like a police weapon. Was there any anime of it? I can't recall. I don't think there was.
No anime, but it was featured on Forgotten Weapons.
There you go.
Mhm.
So this is the Cobb Pistol. This one was very difficult to research. I could not find a whole lot of information on it at all.
Hey?
Apparently it was built from a particular patent that a guy had made. It shoots from the bottom barrel, despite this whole, like, upper section, in a fascinating manner.
Hey.
But it's just, like, I want to know more about this little guy. Like,
Yeah,
It-
what's the little puff thing for then?
yeah, it's from the turn of the century, and, like, the Forgotten Weapons I found on this, like, it was just an article they had written, and Ian was also, like, what the fuck? Like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
But yeah. And I don't think I found any anime of it.
Nope.
Moving swiftly along. So before I go to the next one, we need to talk about clandestine operations in World War II. Specifically, some folks might be familiar with the well rod,
Yeah.
the single-shot, integrally suppressed pistol. That it uses these like usable baffles. As I insert it back in there. But it uses these baffles that eventually like wear out because it burns them away as it uses them, right?
Yeah.
And the whole like grip is the magazine itself. It's a very like funky but kind of classic clandestine type weapon, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
But obviously a product of its time. You know, it doesn't really have any sort of like modern applications. Why is Dave clicking on this? Oh, I see. This is the B&T VP9.
Okay.
This is the modern well rod.
Oh. Didn't know we brought it back.
I didn't either until I came across this thing. So B&T, if I recall correctly, they're a Swiss company. And
Mm-hmm.
apparently the nickname for this is the vet's pistol, or like the veterinary pistol. Because the suppressor here is kind of a suggestion on the real one more than it is like an actual... Like, what you're hearing there is way quieter than what the real one does, apparently. But this is supposedly a pistol that they use for euthanasia on, like, large animals over in Europe.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But I'm fascinated by this, particularly because, like, you can just get one of these in Europe. Like, no one's technically stopping you. And it's so funny to think, like, how far that, like,
Yeah.
World War II clandestine lineage has come.
Mm-hmm.
And also, yeah, same kind of thing of, like, the grip being just part of the magazine. I don't think I found any anime on it, and I'm pretty sure I didn't find, Ian from Forgotten Weapons talking about it.
It doesn't. It says that you didn't find the anime, but it does say that Ian covered it. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, gotcha. The Webley 1913. So this would have come out a little bit after the 1911, and I just absolutely fucking adore British engineering and the fact that it is just a box and a barrel.
What
And
more
a
do you
dream.
need?
The other thing I was fascinated by on this one particularly, this was given to, like, pilots in the RAF.
Okay.
And it was suggested that this wasn't, like, a duty pistol that they, like, started using once they got, like, to the ground. This was apparently for engaging other aircraft outside of, like...
Okay.
Or was it, like, maybe not for that, but at least suggested that, like, shooting at, like, enemy pilots while you were flying was, like, not off the table as far as this gun was concerned.
Oh, that's so funny.
Which sounds insane until you realize that the British were absolutely fucking throwing everything at the German advance.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think I found any anime of that.
No anime on this one.
I don't think Japan, or at least the sort of like gun supporting like weeb crowd, has a terrible fondness for British firearms.
Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense.
Now, this is a grenade launcher pistol question mark. The HK69. And I'll be honest that I mostly included it because the name is funny. But yeah. There's just
It does what it says on the tin.
There's just something I love about a grenade launcher pistol that has 69 in the name.
How silly.
I don't think there was any anime of it.
Mm-hmm.
Nor was there Forgotten Weapons.
Alas. Hello, F2000. I very nearly bought
Wow.
one of these. But, yeah. Here's the version with the built-in grenade launcher that I absolutely fucking adore. The real one also has, like, this sort of weird, like, built-in scope type situation going on.
Oh my god.
A little further back. Oh, too far back. Yeah, good enough. This is another one, like, I've heard this one nicknamed the Tactical Tuna.
It is, yeah, I can kind of see it, I guess.
But, yeah, just kind of a fascinating,
Mm-hmm.
relic. Come on. There we go. Yeah, personally, I prefer it with just the top rail.
Mm-hmm.
Has your classic, like, charging handle that you can lock up and smack down to do the HK slap. I've heard reports, because this was supposed to be able to take, like, the M16 style, like, standard magazines, or Stanags.
Mm-hmm.
Although I've read that, like, some folks have difficulty getting theirs to actually feed. Another thing I love about this is that you get this whole, like, view from just flipping this up of the, like, actual chamber in operation for, like,
Oh.
clearing nonsense out of there and being able to, like, diagnose what's going on with your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite question to ask people that have never seen this, where do you think the shell casings eject?
I'm not seeing anything immediately.
Because on the P90, they come out of the bottom, but the magazine's in the way. There's, you know, back here is too small. You wouldn't open that up because that would be fucking miserable.
Yeah.
So, why don't we show... Also, the selector switch is this disc that's up here, and it's the same way on the P90. And I love that. But,
Oh, that is a lot more forward than I would have thought.
yeah, so they get sent down this, like, channel, and it's more immediate in the game just because of the animations. And this is a modded gun. This is not part of the, like, regular thing. But yeah, it has this whole chute that it, like, sends them down. And so on the real one, you'll be, like, firing, and then you'll hear the, like, jingle of the shell casings coming out much later. It's very fascinating. And also grenade goodness. Whoop. Nope, there you go. But, yeah, Ian didn't cover the F2000 specifically, but I guess there's a, like, Slovenian variant, is the F2000S that he covered. And then I'm pretty sure I found anime of it.
Yes. You did.
Now on to the PP-19 Bison.
Bison.
A fascinating little guy. This was part of that program I mentioned earlier of needing 9mm AK type weapons.
Okay.
Oh, game, you're so silly. So, what's the deal with this helical drum mag, literally like soda can mag?
Yeah.
The deal is that the rounds are sort of like spiraling on the inside through like a very complicated feed system. But this thing holds 64 rounds.
Oh my god.
And so, I used to own an airsoft one of these, and you have to, like, notch the, like, little teeth into those hooks there, and then, like, roll the magazine in order to, like, lock it in position.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And it's a unique design. There's also no, like, gas system, unlike on the real AK. It literally just uses, like, the pushback from the single round to, like, chamber the next one.
Okay.
You know, can come with a host of optics. It's got this like very interesting muzzle brake, and I couldn't find it in this game, but they have a suppressor that's specifically meant to like fit over this muzzle brake.
Oh, okay.
Obviously the stock folds, because gotta have a folding stock.
Absolutely, yeah.
The other thing I'll note, the magazine here sort of makes it, you know, impossible to mount any sort of like foregrips or any sort of under attachments. I can't remember which of the Call of Duty games it was. It was one of the newer ones. They had a whole system where you could attach like a foregrip or something to the bottom of these. And my friend who was playing didn't understand why I fell off the fucking couch when he showed me that. Because that means that every single magazine in your pouch would have to have its own foregrip.
Yeah.
In order to... Because you're not just like... There's no Looney Tunes ass contraption that allows you to like put a foregrip underneath this thing. I'm pretty sure it passed the anime test.
It does pass the enemy test.
Wow.
Or wait, no. Sorry.
Oh
I
my
read it
goodness.
wrong. It does not pass the anime test.
Gotcha. And then I don't think Ian covered it on Forgotten Weapons.
Technically, no. He covered the Vitsias.
Oh, the Vityaz, yeah. So, the successor, and I'll just pull it up over here. So the PP-19 was, like, cool and good, and people liked it. The Vityaz is what came after, once they realized that the helical magazine was terrible, and so it's just kind of a 9mm MP5.
Okay.
Or MP5 type AK, I should finish. But speaking of obscure Russian guns, this is the TAWS 106.
What?
It is a bolt action
The fuck?
12 gauge.
Why?
So apparently they sell these to hunters and truckers in Russia as like something to keep in your cab. But yeah, it was a fascinating find to say the least. I also 100% love this one in the game because it just has this AK style side sighting that you can tell they just like bolted into the wood.
Yeah, the like sanded down wood finish is what like gives it a post-apocalypse vibe.
This would not be out of place in Mad Max at the slightest.
Yeah.
But yeah, magazine-fed bolt action 12 gauge shotgun. This gun comes up pretty often, usually whenever someone's like, haha, wouldn't it be crazy if? And I go, the thing about that...
they did that. They tried that.
They tried that. Someone out there did that. I don't think this one passed the anime test.
No, but it did pass the furry test.
Oh.
Right. Which was weird.
In fact,
Again, I was looking at this like, why would the furries want this? Why would we want this? Okay, we're in the home stretch. So this is the OTS 38 special revolver. First thing you might have noticed, it has a built-in
special revolver.
special. It has a built-in laser pointer because you gotta have things with built-in laser pointers.
Yeah.
Notably, it shoots from the bottom cylinder, so the laser is actually in the top
Oh.
rather than the bottom.
Okay.
It has these kind of special, funky-looking 5-round.
Flat.
type deal. Come on now. Sir?
Get in the pocket.
Yep. In the pocket it goes. So, all right, you know, pretty standard looking revolver. So is it just the built-in laser pointer that makes it interesting? Oh.
What?
Weird. Oh. I guess they forgot to code in the sound of this thing firing. Let's The trick of that is they didn't. So what makes this a special revolver, and to show the spent versus the unspent, so effectively this is a suppressed revolver because it keeps all of the combustion and all of the gas and everything contained within the casing, and it just specifically pushes out the little like bullet at the end. From the reports I read, because I couldn't really find any video of this, I could only find people talking about it, but apparently firing it and just pulling the trigger were nearly indistinguishable.
Oh.
What's super funky and interesting is this is not the only weapon that uses this like proprietary internal combustion round that keeps everything inside. There's like I think it's called the PSS. It's a semi-auto version of this. But yeah, just interesting that the Russians have a like completely silenced revolver.
Yeah.
It would be super, you know, you think the Americans would want to get in on something like that. And the thing is, they did. It's not any sort of like special revolver they made with a built-in laser sight or anything. They made some 44 Magnum rounds that were integrally suppressed. That same sort of like keeps all the combustion inside the casing. From my understanding, it's incredibly difficult to get like the pressures right, which is why it's not more widespread. But those American like 44 Magnum ones were used in Vietnam specifically for clearing out like the tunnels that the Viet Cong were going through. Because I can only imagine, like, you know, I've fired a gun without hearing protection in an open like field, and it's not great. Also, over our recent camping trip, I got to fire the AK suppressed while not wearing hearing protection. Also not great. Fucking stung. But I could only imagine in a tunnel with a 44 Magnum revolver.
Yeah.
So, yeah, needless to say, an interesting design, and
absolutely.
Yeah, when people talk about like Hollywood movie quiet, this is the kind of gun I point to where I'm like, it does exist, but it's not widespread. And I don't think this one passed the anime test or the Forgotten Weapons test.
No, it does not pass either.
Cool. So now it's time to talk about the QLB-06. So this is a Chinese-made grenade launcher.
Hey? Oh my god.
Just to show you the scope, chat, and to show you the scope, folks. But
oh my god.
So because of the scope and the way that like the Chinese sort of employ this. They refer to this as a grenade launcher sniper rifle. Which is, again, another one of those, like...
It's terrifying.
Oh, Dave, wouldn't it be crazy if they made a, like, sniper rifle that shot explosive rounds? And I'm like... So the Chinese, sort of have you beat on that one. Yeah, they also make these absolutely fucking insane drums for them.
Mm-hmm.
Which...
Wow.
I don't think I found any anime of it.
Nope. And I wasn't on Forgotten Weapons either.
No anime. And yeah, I would have been so surprised if Ian had covered this one. So speaking of suppressed, we get to talk about this wonky little guy. And yes,
Yeah.
it does take Glock mags.
Oh my god.
So this is the Silencer Co. Maxim 9. It is the only commercially available integrally suppressed handgun. And what cracks me up is you can take these off and add even more baffles, like make it longer to make it even quieter. But even on its own, like, it's alright.
Yeah.
They've gone through a couple different prototypes and a couple different versions. You'll also notice this plate right here. They made it so that you could attach these type of like red dot optics to them, even though this one doesn't want to cooperate. But you know, made to be like your tactical home defense like handgun.
Mm-hmm.
And what is fascinating to me is it seems to, like, there's some initial hype around it when it released, and then it kind of petered out and they just discontinued it. Like, you can't, outside of buying them on the, like, third-party market, which buying anything with an NFA item like tag right now on the third-party market is a fucking nightmare. So I imagine all the dudes who sold these are having like a hell of a time reselling them.
Uh-huh.
But it's still just kind of fascinating that there's like a commercially available, integrally suppressed handgun.
Yeah.
Did this one pass the anime test?
Nope.
Cool. And I don't think Ian talked about it either.
Nope.
What a guy. Back to our... I probably should have grouped all of the Metal Gear guns with each other. But for anyone who doesn't know, this is the AMD 65. Notable pop culture type reference. These were used by the Ocelot unit, led by Ocelot, in Metal Gear Solid 3. But in actuality, this is a Hungarian-made AK. And I love this little, like, wire stock.
Yeah.
It's just, like, so... Nope. Fiddle. Yeah. Hilarious.
Wow.
But yeah, 7.62 by 39, so the traditional AKM round. There we go. And yeah, has this like, I love this sort of like cheese wedge type muzzle brake. It's so classic on shit like this. But yeah, neat little piece of history.
Yeah.
I don't think this one passed the anime test.
No.
Cool. Alright, the TAWS 81.
Oh.
I remember this one.
This was what led Aaron and I to the discovery around the sort of like shotgun inserts. But this is the TAWS 81 Mars. Notably, there is only one firing prototype that was ever made. But this is what the Soviets refer to as a survival gun. Because Soviet cosmonauts would land, you know, in the Russian steppe. They would land in the vast wilderness of the Soviet Union. And so, yeah, has a built-in survival knife. But, grand question, what does it shoot? I'll tell you. It's a 410 gauge survival shotgun.
Oh.
Because, yeah, Soviet cosmonauts landing out in, like, the boonies, don't necessarily, like, you know, unlike the American landings where there's, like, someone waiting for you by the ocean, you might have to survive for however long it takes for them to get out to where you are. This lost out to the TZ-82, I want to say? It's in my notes.
TP-82.
TP-82. Which looks pretty similar to this, and I don't think is in this game, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have featured it. I don't think that passed the anime test, nor was featured on Forgotten Weapons. But continuing with Soviet madness, this is the SVU, or the OTS 03, if you like. Shout out to all of my Glaz mains in chat, all one of you. But this is the rifle that Glaz in Rainbow Six Siege uses. And notably, it's a bullpup SVD.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Now, if this is so, like, no, you know, so well known as to be talked about, like, you know, and featured in a game as widespread as Rainbow Six Siege, why am I bringing it up here? Why am I noting this one? And you might notice that it has 2 notches before it hits safe. Yeah, they made a bullpup full auto sniper rifle.
What the fuck?
Which is what denotes it as the SVU-A for Avdomat, or automatic. Because, yeah, obviously, for a bullpup marksman rifle, you need full auto.
Yeah.
Supposedly they also made 20 and even 30 round extended magazines for this.
Oh my god.
They're not featured in this game, obviously, but yeah, I was quite humored when I saw this mod available.
Wow.
And I should probably go through in the description after this stream gets posted and link all of the mod authors that I'm using, because not all of these are just in the base game. But I don't think this one passed the anime test, or specifically the SVU-A, partially because it looks identical to the regular SVU, and I didn't bother to look up that one.
Yeah.
And I don't think Ian talked about it either.
Nope.
Back to World War II for a bit. This is the 1902 Luger Carbine.
What? Okay.
So everyone knows the Luger, right?
Yeah.
But this was their Carbine variant. And, yeah, needless to say, a fascinating idea of having like that 9mm round in a like larger, easier to handle package, while still doing that kind of like upper rotation thing that the Luger loves doing.
Mm-hmm.
I also adore it because they made a goddamn drum magazine for it.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, that's a thing. This was one where, yes, Ian did talk about it, but there's another gun guru out there known on YouTube, Jonathan Ferguson, and he was invaluable for learning more about this, because I did not know a whole lot about this.
Mm-hmm.
One thing he pointed out that I was unaware of, this whole wooden grip up here, it's not just for, you know, gripping, holding, and doing all the funny with. If you look at this little metal segment in here and notice that when I rack this back, the whole barrel moves.
Okay.
So this has a little spring inside of it to assist the spring system that's back here, because it has to move all the weight of this extra barrel on the Carbine version. And so this wooden grip has a extra spring built into it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, huge shout out to Jonathan Ferguson, who I hate to admit I usually skip his stuff because I'm not a fan of the, like, so-and-so reacts to whatever, and he has his face on a lot of that. But when it came to researching this weapon, he was incredibly knowledgeable and actually had like a live model that he was able to disassemble and show off. And so, yeah, thanks to him. I think I found anime of this one. I could be wrong.
It says it does not pass the test.
Cool. Then I did not, so ignore me. Oh, it's an M16. Wait.
Is it? Russian M16? Oh.
I don't think this is an M16, guys. No, so this is a MP155K. So admittedly, this is a hunting shotgun that has a like kit built around it. I think the kit is called like the TG1. And every comment I found around this thing was like, "We have M16 at home." Because yeah, it really just horrifyingly resembles, like, at a glance. Like, this also feels like the kind of thing that I would find in, like, a news article talking about, like, you know, ban assault weapons, and they show this thing, and I get to be like, that's a hunting shotgun. But, yeah, what's fascinating to me, and I found it a lot in the pictures, and it's a little hard to see here other than the end cap. Despite this taking this magazine with the kit, the, like, tube that you load shells into is still attached on this. It just sort of is a kit that replaces this whole, like, you know, underside and adds the, adds this, like, carrying handle to it. But I don't think this passed the anime test.
Nope.
And then I'm pretty sure Ian hasn't talked about it on Forgotten Weapons.
No. It's advertised as a self-loading rifle.
Oh yeah, the
What does
MP.
that mean?
Yeah, the MP155K on its website, it doesn't refer to it as a shotgun. It calls it a self-loading rifle.
Okay.
I genuinely don't know why.
What even is a self-loading rifle?
So, it's how we refer to a semi-automatic weapon, but that was like
Okay.
back in the old days and like what the British did.
Oh.
So like before we had the term
Interesting.
semi-auto, it was a self-loading because, you know, in the way back when you had a like you had bolt action, so you had to manually load it.
Yeah.
But a self-loading rifle does the whole operation itself.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the GM6 Lynx.
What the hell? Interesting looking.
I'm fairly certain you can buy one of these in Shadowrun.
You can also buy one of these as a civilian, which cracks me the hell up. But yeah, it is a bullpup, like fully actuated, like 50 caliber rifle. You can see the whole like assembly moves here. The bipod like rotates up and to the side. On the real one, you're able to like unhook it and rotate it down. I haven't figured out how to do that in the game. And so we get to shoot it standing. You can see it has the reciprocating barrel. The thing that particularly cracked me up about this, and again, they advertise with all of this like spring mechanism that it's a 50 caliber rifle you can shoot while standing up. The guy, let's see. Okay, so I don't think I have any way of doing it, but the guy showed that you can lock the barrel back here. And he has this whole like okay, for starters, there's an entire website that's just dedicated to this rifle, which I didn't think we did anymore. Like, I thought we were outside of the age of the internet where we dedicated websites to just one thing.
Yeah.
But in the video, in the GIF, he has it like locked back, and you watch him walk up, and he just like boops the barrel, and it chambers the round, and he starts firing.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I can't get over a gun that you just boop to chamber. I don't know if anyone in my chat has specifically seen it, but the noise on this thing, because they kind of modeled this one after the one for like in the game from one of the new Call of Duties where you get to run around with these things.
Okay.
And someone called it the milkshake rifle. And his buddies were confused until he went, my milkshake brings all the boys to the... Yeah, like, it was so fucking close in the actual one. But, yeah, sort of a weird overall, like, design. And apparently, like, a dream to shoot, from what I read.
Yeah? Okay.
I'm pretty sure it passed the anime test.
Yep. And it was on Forgotten Weapons as well.
There you go. Alright, the Kel Tec PR57. Well, those are weird. Anyway, so, okay, little round-looking handgun.
Ick. Wow.
Sort of weird. I don't know what, I don't know where you put the magazine. Oh. Oh.
Whoa!
Oh. So, Kel Tec is based out of Florida. And it is
Explains
my
a little bit.
it is my official opinion. It is my official opinion that before they design a gun, they do all of the cocaine they can find. Because yes, this is a modern year of our Lord 2025 semi-auto handgun that uses stripper clips to load. There is no detachable magazine on this. What is also noteworthy, that's a pretty funny looking round. Pretty
Yeah.
pretty big compared to our, 45s. So this is a 5.7 by 28 millimeter, aka the same round the fucking P90 uses.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm. And don't worry, foreshadowing is a literary device because we're not done with Kel Tec and P90 rounds. But yeah, so this, when I was looking into it, MSRP is like $400.
Oh, okay.
And the only video I've seen of this was of a guy at this year's SHOT Show handling it, trying to show the operation, and breaking it. Like, the thing comes apart in his hands.
Oh my god.
And so that is
That's
the
not good.
only video I have seen of this particular handgun. And I'm so humored that they would do this. And like, it's a 20 round internal magazine, but they only make 10 round stripper clips. And just like, again, I'm back to like, what are we doing, Kel Tec? What are we up to? I don't believe I found any anime of it,
No.
and it's definitely too recent to be covered on Forgotten Weapons.
So
So keep in mind what I said about all of the cocaine as I spawn this next and last one in.
Mm-hmm.
uh
Hell?
This is also Kel Tec.
What are they doing in Florida? What the fuck?
Oh, hey.
What? Oh my
Yep.
god.
Yeah, that's a P90 mag.
Oh my god.
Mom, can we have P90?
We have P90 at home. Yeah, so it shoots from the top here. It loads the P90 mag upside down. I don't have range time with this, but I did get to encounter one at my local gun store. And my only experience with it is opening up the clamshell too wide because I didn't realize it comes all the way the fuck up here. And I just dropped the magazine on the ground, like in real life, similar to what just happened there.
Wow.
But yeah, from what I read and like what I looked into, apparently people who do have range time with it talk about it being like a really smooth shooter, especially for a semi-auto handgun.
Mm-hmm.
I also love the absolute fucking joke of quote-unquote iron sights
Yeah.
that they have for this thing. Apparently they also make full auto versions of this that just uses up the whole fucking magazine.
Okay.
But for anyone curious looking at like, that's weird, why would they have like 2 recoil springs? I point out that it's kind of just a P90 but upside down. Like, quite literally. Oh, come on now. Come on. You're better than that. There you go. Because the P90, like, it drops the shell casings out the bottom there. And this one throws them out that lovely little top segment.
Yeah.
And, so the reason I included this one on top of it being, like, an incredibly cursed gun is that this thing was actually brought to my attention at the end of the last cursed gun stream I did, where Spencer and I were playing, I think it was Far Cry Blood Dragon. He was playing on the hardest difficulty, and every time he died, I would take him to a slideshow about extremely cursed guns. And a member of his chat brought this thing up while we were away getting food, and I came back and was like, pardon me? What the fuck is this? And all these years later, here we are, with the incredibly cursed, actually able to demonstrate it, like, firing and doing the thing.
Wow.
And, delivering it to the trash where it belongs.
That's awesome.
And that was all of the cursed guns I had set aside.
Yeah.
Yay!
Woo. I do have one notable entry that didn't make it into the original list.
Okay. Box. Whoa, what the? 2 magazines in one? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a double barrel 1911.
Wow.
It's the AF 2011 A1. Yeah, there's also a double barrel AR-15.
No.
And Aaron and I spent a... Hello? Aaron and I spent an inordinate amount of time looking into these and trying to figure out why. It's 'cause why? Why would you do this? But, yeah, there's our cursed gun stream.
Amazing. I learned so much, and I had so much fun doing it.
Oh yeah.
Now you're all cursed with guns.
Yep. I hate to do it to y'all. I did mention the meme weapons earlier. Oh right, it was in... Where was it? So they have a couple of meme guns, and this one doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
You know, we've got the MP5 charging hand. Oh, it won't let me do anything with it. So, for anyone who doesn't know, in the Shadow the Hedgehog game, they have him walk to the top of a hill and he cocks an MP5 like a shotgun. And every gun nerd ever that has just been stuck in our collective brains. Also, I mentioned earlier, this is kind of what I was talking about with the like rear sight of the MP5 also being rotary, where you could use the different like diameter holes or just the open like traditional sights with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love some of the meme guns in this game. They're so good.
Well,
A smaller gun on the.
Yeah. Yeah, this game's fun. But yeah, I think that's everything I had to talk about.
All right.
So I think we'll call it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll catch you all next time.
Next time.
Next time. Alright, I'll head out. See y'all later.
Cheers.
See ya.
Okay, come on.
Okie dokie. I gotta
There we
get
go.
up in the morning, so I better go.
What was that, sorry?
I said I gotta get up in the morning, so I better go too.
Aye, good plan. Thanks for tuning in, all.
Yeah, thanks for putting this on.
For sure.
There's
Catch you tomorrow.
some crazy guns out there.
There is some wild and wacky stuff.